I'd like to start the meeting. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Mr. Clerk, would you please take roll call?
Dave Abdallah.
Here.
Bill Bazzi.
Here.
Robert Constant.
Here.
Lisa Hicks Clayton.
Here.
Denise Melanowski Maxwell.
Here.
Ray Muscat.
Here.
Tom Wenzel.
Here.
Madam Chair, you have a quorum.
Thank you. Tonight we have a young man, Carlos A. Acosta Jr. He's a resident of Dearborn Heights and attends Annapolis High School and is a member of the Boy Scouts of America Troop Number 104 in Dearborn, 1104. He is working on his citizenship of the Community Merit Badge and is attending this meeting as one of the requirements. I'd like to ask him to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance tonight.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be seated. Okay, next we have the approval of the agenda.
Madam Chair, I'm sorry.
Madam Chair,
Councilman Bazzi?
I would actually like to read a statement before we proceed to the council and also to the residents, if I may.
Okay.
First, I'd like to thank all of you for taking the time to be here today away from your families and friends this evening to attend the City Council meeting. I would like to start by assuring everyone that I am not in favor of the development on the Warren Valley Golf Course. I would like to point out that our city of Dearborn Heights currently and will continue to control the zoning of this property. Rezoning it is up to the city of Dearborn Heights. In addition, the city can also write an ordinance to limit its usage. I am raising my concerns over the city of Dearborn Heights' purchase of the Warren Valley Golf Course due to both the short and long-term negative financial implications it could have in our city. It is our duty as members of the City Council to ensure the stability and financial security of our city. It is also our responsibility to uphold the interest and well-being of our residents. In the course of spending hours of analyzing Plant Moran's audit reports dating back to 2012, and again, I have the sheets over here, so if somebody doesn't know where to look at it, I have the website and also how to look up the audit reports. You can just enter the year, but everybody's free to take one after the meeting. The alarming reports has compelled me to address the following concerns. First, the government-wide activity fund. Upon my review of the citywide statements of the city net position, it appears that OPEB, other post-employment benefits, liabilities is standing at close to $160 million. And the pension is at $38 million. And if you look at 2017, Plant Moran annual audit, it's on page 9 and page 75. As of 2017, we were running a total of $207 million. When you look at the net position of the citywide, you will see the amount of its position allocated towards fixed assets, while the unrestricted deficit sits at around $85.6 million. The OPEB pension costs are the main cause of the deficit. The city of Detroit went bankrupt because of their long-term debt, in large part of it caused by the unfunded liabilities and pension. Nowhere in the statement does it appear that the city of Dearborn Heights has the funds to spare for the golf course. The corporate fund, or the general fund, after reviewing the corporate fund, it appears that in 2017, the city had approximately $2.38 million in cash on hand, with receivables due in the amount of $6.1 million, bringing the unassigned cash on hand $3.7 million. This amount we have to run the city. Corporate fund expenses were as high as $40.5 million. After considering outstanding current obligation, the city has about $3.7 million left of cash. Receivables are unassigned. The $3.7 million put the city of Dearborn Heights at 9%, using the cash on hand to buy the golf course at $1.8 million not including the cost to operate the facility and also to maintain it and get it up to code, which will exceed $1 million. That would also lower the percentage. I would also like to bring another big asset to the book. That will actually bring the big asset to our books. While lowering the amount of cash on hand, we have thus making it difficult for the city to borrow any money in the future at a reasonable interest rate. Meanwhile, the net excess revenues over expenditures is a deficit of over $1 million. The money was covered by $2.3 million cash on hand. However, unless structural operation changes or more revenues come in, you expect another deficit. The water fund. It has been stated at several council meetings that the city plans to, or we approved to borrow money from the water fund. The accounting reveals that there is a deficit of $382,000 of unrestricted fund right now as of 2017 report in the water fund. 2018 would have a bigger great year to borrow money from the water fund. There are also legal questions to whether the city can continue to borrow money from the water fund. If you can legally borrow money from the water fund, it has to be put in at an industry interest rate. The logic for this is municipality cannot raise taxes without people voting on it, but they can raise water rates, which they have recently. Again, the Warren Valley Golf Course almost bankrupted the county, and it continues to drain money. How can we keep up from? How can it keep from our city to go bankrupt? The previous management company that managed the golf course could not sustain the continuous losses and ultimately opted out of renewing their contract. Wayne County put an RFP for a new management company. The only one that actually responded to the RFP was a current employee for the previous management company. As of today, the course continues to lose money for the county. The current state of the course is below standard and will require large investment. Our city is not able to cut our own grass. We have to hire an outside company to cut our grass and clean our sewers. Without seeking outside contractors, the city cannot run. In addition, the city is not able to open the city hall 5 days a week because I was told there was lack of funds and it costs too much money to open one more day, the fifth day, Friday, or even maintain our substandard parks. In conclusion, we have three new council members, including myself at this time. I am seeking assurance that our city is not moving towards the path of bankruptcy with this purchase. With the rising amount of the OPEB liability and pension, we do not want to jeopardize the pensions and the health care of our retired employees, police officers, and firefighters who have and continue to give so much to our city. In light of this information, I ask we perform our due diligence and have financial auditors come in front of the council and the residents as soon as possible to address our questions about the financial state of our city. In addition, I ask that we ensure that all the deficiencies for the last 12 years that since 2012, reported deficiencies are addressed and are resolved as we enter the new fiscal year. Again, I want to assure everyone here I'm not in favor of any development on a golf course. We simply must ensure the stability of our city. Our residents are concerned about the purchase as they are already paying higher taxes and higher water rates. I also share my concerns about the flooding issue, which have impacted our families. With most recent issues, in just a few weeks, we have few residents going to address here short after this meeting. Lastly, what guarantees do we have from our mayor that this course will not be sold at a later date? At this time, I ask the mayor, who's a CPA, one is what is your plan to resolve the differences and balance our budget? Two, do you have a business plan for the golf course and who will manage it? Three, what is the alternative if the plan fails? 3, are we going to be moving the same course as the Canfield Ice Arena, having it condemned when the city was managing it? 4, will you sell the golf course after we approve the sale? Thank you all for your participation.
At this, okay.
Bring this down.
Can we,
He addressed to me, I'd like to respond.
understandable.
I'm in favor of purchasing the golf course and have it remain a golf course and also a catering banquet center. We're going to pass something out so you'll understand. And I am a CPA and I'm proud of it.
Yes.
On this side, this is the last 5 audits. In 13, and you'll get a copy of it, we added $2,115,000 to fund balance. In 14, $1,900,000. In 15, $1,900,000. In 16, $2,639,000. Last year, $1,398,000. It's about $10 million. The last council that was here, when we considered purchasing it, the $1.8 million is coming out of that $10 million. We got cash in the bank. We don't need to finance it, we could buy it.
Rainy day fund.
The other thing is, if we allowed the county to develop it, all of us are going to have to come up with $30 to $50 million to take care of all the water. Where's that water going to go? And you're in my basement. Councilman Bassey is not a financial genius, and I don't know where he got his figures from. But let me tell you this.
It's right here.
The police and fire pension position, as of June 30th, 17, we were 87.4% funded. And general government pension, 81.3%. The state said if you're at 80%, you're excellent. You can ask, and I'm not putting the burden on a commissioner, what's Wayne County at 40%? What is our surrounding communities? There's people from the school board. What's your pension that your teachers are in? Is
Okay.
it even 40%?
All right, thank you. At this time, let's start the regular meeting and keep the comments till the end of the meeting.
Okay, the OPEB,
Okay.
the OPEB healthcare liability for police, fire, and general government is $168,693,439. All communities were on a pay-as-you-go basis, and Dearborn Heights was too. The state, with Public Act 2002, said 202. We would like all communities to get off of pay-as-you-go and set up a fund like you do for pension. So we have to be at 40% by the year 2048. We got 30 years to get there, folks. I think we can do it. We are in great financial shape. Look at the communities around us. Garden City, Taylor, Westland.
Okay.
They'd all be proud.
Thank you.
Say they got this.
Thank you
And
very much.
that's what we are.
Okay, thank you. No. Okay, Councilman Muscat.
First of all, you didn't have to say he was a liar.
I didn't, but that's what it
But
was.
you shouldn't say he was a liar. That's beneath you, sir. That's beneath you, okay?
And I didn't expect less.
Second of all, with all of this coming to light, we have a lot of numbers to decipher here. I, too, am in favor of keeping this golf course. Always have been. Well, I'll take that back. When it first started out, I was looking at dollar signs. I admit, and I even asked the commissioner to go ahead and get it developed. But then, the only person really that was totally against this at the time was former Councilwoman Marge Horvath. God bless her for that, okay? And she started talking to us, and we started talking about the flooding issue. I thank God she was sitting here at the time that happened, okay? Because she brought it on to light. But I'm in favor of keeping the golf course, and with all of this, that Councilman Bazey has the courage to do something. I mean, this is not an easy thing to do, folks. This is going against the grain here. It's not an easy thing, but The councilman has been involved with many difficult situations in his life, and he's used to taking some
I'm going to
heat.
start the meeting.
Wait a
But,
minute, you gave people time, you got to give
Councilman,
others
all
time.
right.
but I
We
think
gotta
at
get
this point
meeting
in
started,
time,
And then we can
Get
make,
it started.
this should be a dead thing
Shouldn't
here,
have
and
snowballed, and you're
move
right.
this to a study session so we can actually have the mayor explain everything to us before we make any rash decisions here.
that's a good idea.
And to remove it from the agenda would be, I think, before we accept the minutes and the agenda, is to remove this and let's put it to a study session and be calm and collective about this, because there is no traction for it.
If you want, I can schedule a study session next Tuesday at 7 and just
But
do it then,
in all
because
favor,
we got to get our meeting
But
going.
I understand it, but in all favor for the residents, they need to get
No,
a vote of
no,
yes
it's
or
not
no.
gonna be happening.
So we'll carry on with it.
Madam Chair, I'm sorry, with all due respect, you gave Councilman Bazey
Go ahead.
20 minutes to speak, so
ahead.
that's supposed to be later, but that's fine, we did it right now. I am totally in favor of us keeping it as a golf course. I am totally in favor of us purchasing it. And that's a decision that we made as a council already in a previous meeting, and we're moving forward, just waiting to close. With this resolution, with all due respect to Councilman Bazey, to rescind this, we say specifically, we don't want it built, we don't want this, we don't want that. We don't want the county to decide this. We already decided as a council that we are going to control our own destiny. So to sit and rescind this sale, we'll give it right back to the county who doesn't want this, and then they can do whatever they want with it. I want to point something out to you. We are purchasing it for $1.8 million. That is not a steal. That is a steal of a steal of a steal. That puts it at $7,107 per acre. That's for free. So for us to decide not to take this is absolutely nuts. With all due respect to him, I am totally in favor of the purchase. We will purchase this. We will do everything within our power to keep it as a golf course and keep it running as a viable golf course, which would raise our values and protect our basements. Thank you.
Councilwoman Hicks Clayton, and then we need to get this meeting
Real
going.
quick. I never supported the development of the golf course. I never issued any statement of such. In fact, I wrote the resolution to oppose any development. What I want to remind everyone is that the council, the former council, including myself and a few of us here, voted in October 2017 to purchase this golf course. At that time, there was a 90-day due diligence period. That has come and gone. I'm concerned with any legal ramifications that would follow if we even tried to cancel this, which I do not support canceling the purchase, because I think it's important to safeguard the community, the neighborhoods, because the liability alone for the infrastructure needed is well over $30 million. And if it was to flood, trying to mitigate that type of floodplain, which is so expensive, I can only imagine what the cost would be if there were any problems. And I will remind you, and somebody reminded me, that 28 years ago, one of the pumping stations there at the golf course failed. And when it did so, this neighborhood that's right across from Riverside Middle School flooded extensively. Those homes were, had a lot of flood water up in their basements and up the stairs. So I want to remind you that that is very real. Stormwater you cannot effectively manage. It is what it is. And Councilman Abdullah, I was looking at you. Councilman Bazey, I understand where you're coming from. And I agree with you. The funding liabilities, and thank you, Mayor, for what you shared, and also with the Department of Treasury letter from May 17th, you mentioned we're going to have a study session. Absolutely, we need to talk about the action plan that's needed, the Department of Treasury is asking for. But that's a separate piece, and we need to address that.
At this time,
but let's keep this golf course.
At this time, I'm going to start our regular meeting, and we have proper times to comment on the rest of this. At this time, I'm asking for agenda approval.
Madam Chair.
Councilwoman Hicks Clayton.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. I move to approve the order of business August 14th, 2018, regular meeting of Dearborn Heights City Council as presented.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman
With the removal
Wenzel.
of 631?
I don't support that. I won't make that motion. We have so many people that came here tonight that are...
No, 631.
631.
Sorry,
631,
631. I
that's the
thought you were thinking 11. I was still
631.
stuck on the ordinance, folks.
That was already
Well,
removed.
that's
be brought up
claim.
under the
During the
bids.
current claim, you can talk about that. So my motion stands.
Okay.
With your support,
I second.
sir.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. Next, we have approval of the minutes from the regular meeting of July 24th, 2018.
Madam Chair,
Councilman Abdullah.
I move that we approve the minutes from July 24th, 2018, regular meeting of the Dearborn Heights City Council as submitted on item 4A.
Support.
Supported by Councilman Constant. Any discussion?
That was for the
Minutes.
Minutes.
Minutes. Okay. Any discussion?
last meeting.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. Motion carries. Next, we have public hearings and comments on agenda items. Okay, so they can see what the items.
Bob?
At this time, we ask you come up, if you have any comments, to state your name, address, and limit it to 2 minutes, please. Okay. All right. At this time, we ask you come up and you limit it to 2 minutes, state your name and address. Sir, go ahead and begin.
My name is Dennis Buford. I'm at 6254 Fairwood. I believe on the agenda is rehire Hutch Paving on another job. Hutch Paving, and I'm on the former job, I'm a victim of Hutch Paving. The job they did is abhorrent. If I would like all of you council members to come down Fairwood and take a look. How many driveways did they have to redo because of their lack of expertise? What did that cost us, the taxpayers, each one of these driveways? The clerk could tell me that. He could tell me how many there were. And now you want to hire them again. In front of my house, they redid my driveway and I still flood. This never happened before. The excuse they're giving is you have flat surfaces. Okay? I didn't have flooding at the back of my driveway. I do now. In addition, drive down Fairwood. Councilman Muscat saw this yesterday. It's already coming apart in the middle. It was never seamed or sealed or whatever you should want to. In front of my house, I measured it tonight. 2.5 inches by 1 inch deep. This is 10 months after they did it. It's already starting. They're going to have to put blacktop on that before the end of the year. This is a brand new job. It should last more than 10 months. So I'm here to tell about the lack of response I've gotten on fixing my driveway. I've talked to Wade Trim to no avail. So now I'm bringing it up to the city because it shouldn't be between me and Wade Trim. It should be between the DPW and Hutch Paving. Now, to renew and give them another contract, spend some time as a council, go look at the job they did already. They're terrible. They don't,
Okay, well-
they don't know what they're doing.
Can we talk
Thank
to you
you.
at the end of the meeting? Thank you
Yes,
very much.
yes.
Could you repeat your address again if you don't mind, sir? Sir? You got it?
Okay. Thank you very much, sir, for taking the time.
Again, I'm at 6254 Fairwood.
Okay. Thank you. And see us at the end of the meeting. Name in 2 minutes.
Okay, Lisa Oshansky, and I live on West Pleasant Ridge and Golfview Manor subdivision. I am pleased to note that the council in general is against canceling the purchase of the golf course. However, I believe that there are many important financial issues brought forth by Councilman Bazzi's request. And that includes a diligence that we need on all costs. This goes to the approval of any of the payments that we're making at the City Council, as well as those that are, for lack of a better word, frequent flyers. The companies that send us invoices for just under the amount that's needed for council to approve. I believe that as a council, this is not a bylaw issue, but a city process issue. And I believe that you could establish new processes that say that if you if a frequent flyer does that X number of times and it's within a certain percentile, that they then have to come before council for approval. I also think that the diligence and the cost and the financial stability of the city can be improved by such things as a revision to the RFQ process, reviewing things such as why we are having our grass cut by a vendor instead of hiring temporary workers, because you can hire someone for up to 6 months before they have to join the union, and that is to allow for seasonal workers. And I don't know why we're not using more seasonal workers. Again, these are things that I do not believe, because we are so lean, and as most companies are today, that are necessarily being reviewed on a 18-month basis, as they are in most of corporate America. And I would request that we consider that, and we consider the payments to vendors and the quotes as something that we can improve upon. Just diligence at all costs to come up with a plan for the underfunded liability.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
State your name and address.
Gary Mayaki, Plainfield Street, Dearborn Heights. I'm speaking as resident with regard to item 11A, the Warren Valley Golf Course. To make sure that my comments could be heard and not potentially not be heard, I wanted to take this opportunity to speak to you now. If you were to approve this motion, at a minimum, the city would end up losing its deposit of $180,000. In addition to that, we would blow our credibility as a city with the county and potentially with others who would do business with us with respect to all kinds of items. Right now with the county, we have to deal with the DUA, the CSO Basin, Ecorse Creek, and on all of these things, how are they going to be able to trust our word if we can't honor not only one agreement, but 2 agreements that this body had previously ended up approving? In addition to that, the primary point of the agreement was to avoid the county seeking to sell it to a developer and to avoid flooding and potential flood claims that would end up having to be paid if it is developed and if it does end up resulting in flooding. We'll have that liability if this proposed item would be approved. And finally, zoning and other potential legal actions would be ineffective to ensure that the property is not developed. The only way to ensure that is for the city to purchase the property. And that's what I recommend that you do. Vote down this motion and let us continue going forward to close on this transaction. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, next.
Suzanne Todd, Academy Street. I live in the South End, and my neighborhood has been a victim for 53 years of flooding of the Ecorse Creek due to building on the floodplain. So I come up here, I don't care who buys the city. I mean, who buys the golf course? Whoever it does, we have to have an ordinance in place, and I don't care if it's the mayor or the council. We need to have an ordinance in place that will state there will be no building whatsoever on the Warren Valley Golf Course until it is approved by a majority vote of Dearborn Heights residents.
Yep.
We need to have that in writing. Words are just words. Put it in writing that this golf course, if it's bought, needs an ordinance that says that it's not going to be built on unless we, the residents, say it's okay. Believe me, you do not want to end up like those of us in the South End. 53 years we have dealt with this.
Okay, thank you very much. Next, state your name, your address, and 2 minutes, please.
Yes, good evening. My name is Nada Saab. I live on 6987 Da Costa Street, and between Warren and Outer Drive. On July 30th, 1 a.m., our basement flooded with backup sewer water due to heavy rain, up to 5 inches. We had companies coming over to our houses for a week trying to disinfect, clean, and make our houses livable. This is the second incident in 5 years. Our insurance company said that this is not supposed to happen that often, and that we need to contact the city for this problem. We, the residents of Da Costa Street, blame the city for neglecting the maintenance of our sewer system. We cannot afford these losses every few years. We also ask the city to reimburse us for some of our financial losses due to this flood in that range between $5,000 and $15,000. I am a good citizen. I pay all of my taxes and bills on time. We respect the city and we deserve the respect and the same consideration. We need the right action from you. We are concerned about our health, the value of our houses, and our consideration for the city and our admiration for the city officials. I am sure that the city will look seriously into this because we deserve the attention. This may seem a silly issue for you because it has been more often, but I learned never to underestimate because a single match can set a forest on fire. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I know we don't respond, but in case you just leave early, would you come into City Hall and file an insurance claim against our insurance carrier, please, for your losses?
We can see you at the end of the meeting.
Can you see him at the end?
Thank you.
Joe Hashem, 26560 Wilson Drive. I'm a resident of Dearborn Heights. The reason I'm up here is to basically talk about 11A. I'm in total support of purchasing the Warren Valley Golf Course Club. I think it's a marvelous deal. I can't believe that a businessman, anybody would not think it's a marvelous deal. The city has approved this, city council has approved it. I know that a lot of people has shown up the last time this thing came into city council. Everybody spoke for it. City council approved it. They put a deposit on it. I think we should go forward with it. I'm in support of it personally and professionally 100%. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Before we take the next person, I'm going to ask everybody to turn off their cell phones. I'm hearing pings and rings. Thank you. All right, next, please.
Yes, my name is Michelle Wilson. I've been living in Dearborn Heights for 56 years. I live on Annapolis, 2543 Annapolis. I have been having issues with your ordinance, people. Since I got back, I was even issued a warrant for my
Okay,
arrest.
there is a part at the end of the meeting. It is members of the public, and it's public comments. It's 14C, and we can give you more time there than you get here. So
fine.
that's the correct place to come and make, and we...
Also, just one comment. In regards to your comment with the fire department, City of Detroit going broke, in regards to the EMS and fire, get your facts straight. That's not why they went broke.
One of them.
I did 30 years with them.
One of them.
And my pension sucks. They went broke.
Thank you. Go ahead, please.
Good evening. Colleen Krasanik, 7030 Plainfield Street. I'm here tonight as a resident, but I am on the school board, and I've lived here my whole life, 64 years. I would like to state that only 1 of 9 Donald Ross design courses are left in the world. We're only 1 of 9 left in the world. At 96 years old, it should be called a historic landmark. It offers convenient and excellent banquet facilities. My daughter had her baby shower there Sunday. We support this city. Every time we have any occasion, we go to Warren Valley. My son, my husband, they've golfed there every weekend since we heard Dearborn Heights was going to purchase it. So I would really like you to stay to your word, just like the study session. I came in at the end, but you guys make a decision on something, and then you want to change it. And now tonight, the same thing. You've made a decision to buy the golf course, and now you want to change it again. I just don't see it. It's already been done. It is, the golf course is a jewel of Dearborn Heights. It's the centerpiece of our city. And it would be a horrible shame to see that golf course go under. And I will fight if I have to take a walk around the city hall and fight for it. I will. And you know I mean business, Mr. Koleko.
Thank you. Please state your name, address, limit it to 2 minutes, and make it for agenda items only.
My name is Ricardo Gonzalez. I live at 8502 Whitefield. I support the purchase of the Warren Valley Golf Course. My question to the council is, if it does fail, what are the options available to us? I mean, are you going to sell it off? Are you going to zone it for being a park?
Thank you.
From the numbers, but thank you very much, Mayor Pleco, for providing them for us. He shows us that there is money, but on the golf courses side, who says that they're profitable? I know that the
Right.
city of Farmington Hills had originally got their golf course from the county, and they were able to turn it around. Is there any way we can possibly borrow some of their resources, see like what company they use to do that?
Good
and
suggestion.
If not, what will be the options? Because
Yeah,
I live
'cause-
right at about Joy Beach Daily, and we've never really experienced too many flooding issues, but I know tons of houses in the area have. And there's a lot of new construction. Clearly our community is on the uprise and things are going well. Our schools are great. They're not school of choice. We're doing really well. I'm a result of that. I'm a business owner and I go to school full time working on my accounting degree.
Good.
I just want to see like our future secure and stable. So is there any like long-term plans?
See,
if it
at
does
this
fall
time,
through?
we're not allowed to respond. There is a part at the end, if you come up for 14C, you can ask again, and then we can answer you at that time. This time, it's just public comment. We don't respond to it.
Thank you, I appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Impressive young man.
Yes, I'm impressed, too.
Hello, Council Chair. Name's W.R. Davis, better known as Red Davis, live at 25676 Loch Lomond. I support the purchase of the Warren Valley Golf Course. You cannot purchase anything like that with acreage at that price. I own property in Tennessee. I bought it at a certain price. I've tripled my money. I'm still sitting on it. Property value goes up. If you did some improvements on the golf course, it's going to go up. I play on it. We had a full house on Monday. I'm playing tomorrow with the Dearborn Heights Club. It's a very nice golf course. Certain improvements made. They're doing it now. And I see it happening. And there's people in the audience that know it's happening. And the community can see it. It's a gold mine for us to happen. And as Mr. Bazey said, what's the mayor going to do in the future? We can make money off of it if we sell it. It's a cash cow. It's sitting there. That's what it's all about. And I can't believe Mr. Bazey would be doing this because I supported him. But I don't know what's going to happen in the future. I don't know what his agenda is, but his agenda is not looking out for what me and him talked about at one time. So, you know, you're history to me, and but the golf course is going to stay.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Go ahead.
Maybe I don't need to be up here. Mary Carter, 5853 Coolidge. I love the golf course. I'm up there every summer. I don't understand this talk about a new study, if that's what I'm getting. I thought it was already done. I thought there were tens of thousands of dollars spent to do studies. I thought you went over the books. I thought the county, I thought all that information was already on record. I don't understand. And there are all kinds of rumors. I've never heard that it's not a moneymaker. I don't understand where that even came from. Part of my understanding is that Wayne County considers it more of a park and that money may be used in other areas of Wayne County. But I don't understand how it can be a money loser. Totally not there.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I got a question as a point of order. I'm not a citizen of the city of Dearborn Heights, and according to but I am your county commissioner, and I'm probably the only person here that can respond to claims that have been made about the county's finances and the county's reasons for selling it and how they sold it and comments that were made earlier in a statement. I have the accurate information. I don't think anybody else here can provide that, but I'm willing to do that when you say it's appropriate.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it,
You
Diane.
let me know when, you know, in some other communities, just food for thought, do actually have something that says, you know, comments from electeds.
Okay.
And it's usually on before your regular agenda. So I certainly don't want to step on any residents' toes. I'm so proud of you all for being here and caring about your community like you do. It's my honor to serve you. But I'll come up when you want me to wait until another point in your agenda. Just tell me when.
Yes, Councilman Odella?
But just for clarification, you don't have to be a resident to speak, so you have a right to get up and speak.
Right. You have a 2-minute limit. It's
That's
probably
same as
better at the end.
It's up to you. The only thing I want to say right now, and I'll come up at the end and elaborate, but just specifically to the points of the county going bankrupt on this and that's not true. None of that is true. The only thing the county owed on that was $1.8 million. And that's why the purchase price was set at $1.8 million. And the only reason they only had one bidder was that they put it on they put it out to bid on Mitten, where we buy rock salt. Thank God. Not on LoopNet and where we buy real estate.
Okay.
So just for the record, that information is, and I'm sure you got it from people that have said it publicly, because I've heard elected officials say that publicly, but it's inaccurate, it's wrong, and I proved it was wrong, and that's how I was able to stop it. But we'll talk more later.
Thank you very much.
Hi, Greg Kinzorek, Plainfield. I approve, I want the golf course sale to go through. Other cities have golf courses. Redford's going on 30 years since they purchased Glenhurst. Canton's got Pheasant Creek. Taylor's got 3 golf courses. They wouldn't be open now if there wasn't something good going on there. And I think if the books were true coming out of the county, I think the county would have made some money on that too. That's just my opinion, and let's keep the golf course.
Thank you.
Hi, Sue Kaminsky, 7742 Amboy. I also have been in favor of the golf course being purchased by the city. I'm concerned about what would happen if it was built on. I am, however, concerned about some disparity in the finances that Mr. Bazzi brought up, and I hope as a council you take that into consideration for other reasons and explore that, because it's concerning. As far as the golf course goes, it would be a tragedy to build on it. We've had multiple discussions. There was an open meeting where residents spoke. As a school board member, the school uses some of that property as for drop-off and pickup. Mr. Mayor and the county have been very nice about allowing that to continue, and the mayor said that, that would continue. So, that's used for more than just golfing. Our kids use that, and if it was developed, we would have to worry about traffic with our kids. So, that was all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Zuhair Abdelhaq, 354 Rosemary. I think Mr. Bazzi made his position clear at the very beginning that he is in favor of keeping the golf course as a golf course. His concern is what's going to happen on it if we purchase it. This is the question, and how is our financial situation? Are we able to maintain it? Are we able to sustain the expenses? Last night, he said in front of several people sitting here that he does not want to basically let this golf course go to somebody else. He wants the city to take it. And there are 6, 7 people here sitting, testify to what I'm saying. There is nothing wrong with bringing a subject in front of all of us to discuss it, to know what is our financial situation. I want just to mention one thing. Dearborn has $64 million in their health care system. We have 0. There is reason for all of us to be concerned. We need a plan, as the state treasurer gave us until November 17 to come up with a plan to fund this money. We need money in that fund to make sure that our police and our firefighters have health care and all the employees who are retired. Thank you, Mr. Bazzi, for bringing this to light, because if we don't bring it and discuss it, then we made big mistakes. Thank you.
Okay. At this time, that concludes our public hearings and comments on agenda items. Next, we have fund transfers and current claims.
Council Chair,
Councilman Muscat.
I move to approve claims 6-1 through 654 with the omission of 631 as outlined in 6.
Second.
Second by Councilman Abdallah. Any discussion?
Madam Chair,
Councilman Bazey.
again, I still have a lot of concerns. There's a lot of companies in here, and as some of the residents have voiced and some of the calls that I've gotten over the last several months, that there's some companies in here are tied to certain employees here in the city of Dearborn Heights. I can't verify it, but this is some of the concerns I'm getting from residents. I'm seeing the same contractors in here. Again, you know, there's companies are charging for cutting grass, and we have a DPW. We still haven't had the concern addressed to the council as to when there was a grievance made by DPW. It's still, the administration still has not addressed the council. What's going on with this? Why is that we have to keep paying for cutting city grass? And the other one, I have not seen any, and we've asked that several times, contracts or RFPs for some of the companies on here that keep appearing at on this agenda, as some of the residents have addressed earlier and concerned. And I'd like to thank the mayor, but I'd like to correct them. I do have a master's degree, and I also have 21 years in the Marines, so I can read, and I can tell you, I've been reading the audit reports since 2012, and you consider yourself a CPA. I respect you're a CPA, but I think some of the repeat items that we keep seeing on the reports since 2012, which brought my concern to some of these things on here at the agenda. I questioned something on here several times. If there's residents are not compliant of cutting their grass, the administration has mentioned that we bill it to the residents. We put it on their taxes at the end of the year. So you fix the slabs of concrete, same thing. But yet, on the audit reports, several times it appeared on several years that Plant Moran has had a concern about employees not reporting, like say, leave vacations, sick leaves, or time. And this is something as simple as buying a software. And it keeps appearing on the audits. It's appeared on few audits that I've looked at. So how do you, what kind of software do you have in place in here that for anything that you're charging or you're charging here the city, you got artistic, you got various, again, you know, how do we ensure that these are getting billed to the people that are not in compliance? I have not seen anything. And again, a lot of these companies, they need to go off for RFP. They keep coming here, and we haven't seen any RFPs come out for these contractors. And again, you know, we have company cleaning our sewers, and we can't even clean our own sewers.
Regarding the cement program and the residential grass cuts, there were some invoices turned in today. Obviously, those have not been billed out yet, but I think there's only 4 that have not been billed. 4 individual, I think 1 cement and 3 grass. But everything else has been billed out, and it gets billed out through miscellaneous receivables, which is an application that we use for billing purposes.
Sure.
Councilman Muscat?
I have a few here that I'd like to ask some questions on. The first one is 6-4 to A-Land Construction. And just to piggyback on Councilman Bazey, it's again, was this the lowest bid? Do we send this stuff out to bid, or do we just pick out, since A-Land has been a good company, it's done a lot of work for us, but is this the lowest bid? What bid? I didn't see any bids for this. This is $2,500. Didn't see a bid. Okay? So we didn't go out for bid for this. We just awarded something to A-Land.
We
go out for bids.
we actually went. We got your approval. We actually
Yes.
we used Garden City went out for bid, and we borrowed their bid. And
Garden City.
The city of Garden City. They went out for bid on their sidewalk program, and they came up. He was their lowest. The lowest.
It came to us and we approved it.
Yeah.
We didn't go out for bids. We did it off Garden
Okay,
City's
I
bids.
didn't, I apologize for that question, okay? But the next one is 611. Again, we've got this aerial boom truck. And again, we're paying $4,000, and it's coming from the water fund. There ain't no water lines 50 feet in the air. There is not one sewer line 50 feet in the air. It's got nothing at all to do with water. Why does water have to pay for this? We always been told water runs at a deficit. So how come we're paying money from a deficit account for something that doesn't have anything to do with water? And I understand what you're going to tell me, that everything down at DPW belongs to water. So that makes much more sense that this pays the water department to stay down there. Okay? I just, for the world of me, I can't get over this. I see it all the time. A couple of times I just let it go and I was frustrated. But I see it again at $4,000. We're supposed to be getting a new aerial truck and hopefully that expense goes down. But $4,000 for something that puts a man in the air and water's paying for it. And we have a deficit? Mr. Mayor, this can't go on no more.
As has been explained more than once, that the water department, and there's an allocation system down at the DPW. This equipment should be charged 100% to highway. Am I correct in that? We have one of the supervisors. Why don't you explain it? We've tried to explain it, but maybe you can do it.
Well, if it goes to highway, then why is it this highway here? This should be highway here, not water. I don't want to transfer back to highway later on down the road, which I may or may not see. I want this to say water department and have their account number on it. That's what I want. And matter of fact, not that I want it, I demand it.
Well, let me explain to you that, why don't you go ahead, Mikey, and then...
First of all, the director should be here, not supervisors. We need to have the director here. So I'm not approving this at all. I'll do away with all of 6. If I can't get a doggone director in here to explain to me why we're paying $4,000 for a truck that cuts tree limbs down and we're charging people water and the rates go up. I can't do that. And I will not do that.
Okay, thank you.
The purchase in question, it's a water department account. It is back billed internally through the garage, and it's been explained to you before that it's back billed through the garage, and it's taken out of the highway funds through there.
2018, change it. Simple computer stroke. Change the way you pay for it. This is not something that's impossible to do. It's software. It's something that you put in place to manage a department, okay? You manage a department of what you buy, where you buy it from, and who you charge it to. I cannot see this happening. I don't care how you charge it. This has got water department on it. Charge it the highway that it's supposed to be charged to. Plain and simple. It's not hard. We see charges to highway all the time on other things.
Okay.
So if you can charge those to highway, you sure can charge this to highway. Okay? I'm not going to approve this at all until it gets changed.
One of the things you have to consider is the fact that the highway department uses Act 51 monies, and that comes from the state. Every charge that goes to highway has to be reviewed for that it's in accordance with Act 51 money, or otherwise it needs to be charged to a different account. The system that was set up probably 55 years ago has it flow through water before its allocation.
55 years ago, Mayor. 55 years ago.
Yeah,
when are you going to change? When are you going to change with the times?
No, you don't understand.
Yes, I do.
Yes, if you violate Act 51 monies, you can scream and holler all you want, but if you violate Act 51 monies, we're in serious trouble.
Then why do we also charge other things to highway?
because it's clearly allowable Act 51
Well, this
charge.
isn't?
No, not necessarily.
Oh, we got a truck that cuts down tree limbs, well, we're gonna charge it the water, folks. That's legal, okay?
Madam Chair.
Councilman Bazey?
Okay, again, I'm gonna read, okay, that's one of the things going back to what Councilman Muscat mentioned. This is the last audit report, one of the findings, and there are several. It says, as a result, accounting misstatements that would be expected to be caught by an internal review process, if one was in place, are now identified by the city's external audit. As part of this process, there was 35 adjusting journals entries to the accounting records during the course of the audit.
I have a few other questions, if you don't mind, please. Now that the
Councilman Muscat.
Going to continue on here. We have another one on 6/18. I don't know what DTE is requesting, some property damage charges at Ford Road and Telegraph. Is that something that we did, fixing something? $3,552?
That is we had a water main break there, and our crews had went through some electrical lines on accident, and it's back from February, and Mr. Zimmer refused to pay it until they could 100% prove without a doubt that it was actually caused by us, and it took them this long to prove that it was done by us, so we had to pay for the restoration of it.
Madam Chair,
Councilman Wenzel?
Did you do a surveillance on that property before you dug the water main break?
Yes.
Isn't Ms. Digg responsible for some of that? Because I believe Ms. Digg is responsible for some of that.
Right, that's why you get it marked.
That's why we get it marked. Ms. Digg marked it wrong, then Ms. Digg's responsible for that money, not us. Why should the taxpayers pay for that? They came out there and clearly marked it, you dug it, they broke it, that's their problem, not ours. And that's why we got to turn this over to Ms. Digg, if that's what we did. Okay, and we should be able to get a tracking number on that. You should have had a tracking number on that. So we should be able to call Ms. Digg, give them that tracking number, tell them this was incorrectly marked, and they owe the city all of that money. Okay? I recommend that you do that.
Madam Chair, just for the
Councilman
audience,
Wenzel?
just clarification, Ms. Digg, if anybody doesn't know, it's a company that the city gets gets to come out to mark power lines and water lines before you dig, so you don't hit electrical lines. And it's I don't know if it's a free service or not. Is it free?
I believe it's a free service.
Free. I've used it before.
So I'm not sure if they have
also the
liability.
law.
The law.
It's also the law when you
Call Ms.
dig,
Digg,
you
yes.
have to call Ms. Digg.
I know, but what I don't know, and I'm not an expert on this, I don't know because it's a free service if they would have liability. Maybe the council can tell us better. I'm not sure, but I know I believe it's a free service.
Well, it is a free service,
but I'm not sure if they'd have.
But he just said they called Ms. Digg.
They would be liable.
He said they called Ms. Digg. Ms. Digg is liable. Okay. That's all my questions for today.
Thank you. Any other questions or
Chair, I just have
Councilwoman Hicks Clayton?
Question. Thank you. So the current motion would remove 631, but with the discussion, and I imagine because there's a motion on the table, that would have to be voted on, and then we can make a second motion to remove, if the motion fails, the first one, to remove 611 and 618, or can we do an amendment to the motion, Mr. Clerk? So I would like to see an amendment to the motion.
Okay.
Madam Chair?
Councilman Abdullah?
The only thing to take into account, like we've talked about before, these are companies that did the work. We hired them to do the work. They did the work. They did it right. You got to pay them. I mean,
Then maybe we need to start holding the people approving these accountable because they're spending the city money without authorization.
I get that, but I'm just saying it's a separate issue from
But it
people
seems to be-
where the work has already been done.
You are correct. And
But it keeps
611 for the
occurring.
truck, you are correct, okay? That they have to get paid, they did do the work. So it's not, I'm not upset with Cannon Truck, they do a great job.
Sure.
Okay? I'm just upset who is paying for it and how it's paid for. That's all. And as far as 618 goes, I think we should remove this and ask and make, since I brought the motion up, I'd like to amend the motion to accept 6-1 through 654 with the omission of 618.
And 631.
And 631.
I just want to say, if I may, Madam Chair, my concern is the same with the 611, is that that's not against canon, but there's an internal question on how it's being handled.
Yes.
And it was cited in the audit. You're correct. I have a copy of that with me as well. And that, I think, is a reoccurring problem that has Plant Moran, our auditor, has flagged us as a deficiency more than once.
Yeah.
And so I think that's really what we're saying here is that needs to be addressed.
This is not the first time. This is multiple times that cannon truck has come up, okay?
Right.
Not the first time.
Right, I was referring to the audit, though, yes.
Yes, but anyway, I'd like to redo my motion to omit 618 and 631 and approve 61 through 654 with the omission of 18 and 31.
Okay, Councilman Bazey?
They mentioned.
I second. That's for 618 and 631 only, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, I second.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
regarding 618 and the DTE, that was our fault. It was marked correctly. It was our fault. The lines were damaged because of the water main break we did have. DTE did have to replace it. It's something we can't go out for bids for because it's owned by DTE. So therefore, they had to fix their lines. We get billed for it, just like they get billed when they hit our lines. They get billed for when they cause damage to our stuff too.
I understand it was our fault, but was it our fault because it was mismarked?
No. That's why it took 6 months for DTE to prove to Director Zimmer that it was 100% our fault and not because it was mismarked.
So now I've got to re-amend my amended motion.
Just said that in the first place, right?
to 6-1 through 654 with the omission of just 631. As previously stated, I am sorry, Mr. Clerk. I am very sorry.
And I amend my second and I re-second it.
Or is that a fourth? Is it squared? Just kidding.
Okay, any further discussion?
You guys aren't the only ones that have problems at your board meetings.
It's so enlightening to watch.
Hey, it's entertaining at least.
Yeah. Okay, any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
No.
Councilman Bazey is opposed. Next, we have consideration of bids. We have Chief of Staff and Craft, return of security bid deposits for unsuccessful CAP program bidders.
Madam Chair.
Councilwoman Hicks Clayton.
Ladies first.
Thank you. Madam Chair, I move to concur with Chief of Staff Ironcraft's request and return the security bid bond deposits to the unsuccessful CAP program bidders, as outlined in 7A.
Supported by Councilman Muscat. Is there any discussion? All those in favor? Oh, Councilman Wenzel?
I was wondering if it'd be a problem if from now on, I know if it's in the right place to bring this up or not, but if we have a show of hands when we vote for yes, just an acknowledgement, so people in the audience know who's voting yes or no.
It don't matter.
You want to raise your hand? You can raise.
I mean, just
You
put
can
your
raise
hand
your
up
hand if you
for
want.
yes.
We just in this situation, we don't. Okay. Consideration of bids. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. Next, we have reports from the mayor. U.S. Geological Survey operation of a steam gauging station on the Ecorse Creek.
Madam Chair,
Councilman Abdullah.
I move that we concur with Mayor Dan Paletko in regards to item 8A for permission to sign the attached agreement to continue the operation of a stream gauging station on Ecorse Creek by the U.S. Geological Survey Department of the United States Department of the Interior. And the total cost of the program is $15,700 for the period of October 1st through October 1st, 2018 through September 30th, 2019, as outlined in item 8A.
Support.
Supported by Councilman Muscat. Is there any discussion?
Mr. Council Chair?
Councilman
Muscat. Is this something new, or do we do this every year? Or?
We've been doing this every year, and it provides data and support for the Ecorse Creek.
Yeah, thank you.
Madam Chair.
Councilman Wenzel.
I'd like everyone to know that we have an attempt to have the local students at the high schools participate in this activity that's spearheaded by Barb Gorica from our watershed stewards. And it's a really nice program for the kids to get involved with. And I'm not sure if we missed out on the opportunity this year to do that or not, but I know they're really interested in doing it, and it's a really good good program for the young people.
The Honor Society contacts the city directly, so it doesn't have to be through Barb.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. Next, under reports from mayor, we have Canfield Ice Arena Improvement in Sports and Recreation Facility Lease Agreement with Elite Sports Training, LLC.
Council Chair.
Councilman Muscat.
I move City Council approve the contract between the City of Dearborn Heights and Elite Sports as outlined in 8B, but I'd also like to add that we give rent abatement till we get a C of O.
Okay.
I can't see why we're paying, why someone has to pay rent.
We've had discussions outside. If I could read something as a motion, and I believe we have agreement as it being reasonable.
Okay.
Okay.
Would you like to hear that? Okay.
Yes.
We can entertain that.
A motion to approve the Canfield Ice Arena Improvement in Sports and Recreational Facility Agreement and to authorize the mayor and the city clerk to execute it on behalf of the city subject to the following. First, the agreement shall be amended to add a new subsection 2.3 as stated by Corporation Counsel Mayatki at the meeting at which this motion has been made. Second, section 8.5 of the agreement shall be amended to include a total rent abatement for the months of September 2018, October 2018, November 2018, and December 2018, so that the lessee will pay monthly rent of $0 for these 4 months. This amendment shall be contingent on Corporation Counsel Mayatki's approval. Third, Exhibit A shall be amended to reflect a slight expansion of the arena area as discussed at the meeting at which this motion has been made. The changes to Exhibit A shall be contingent on the approval of Parks and Recreation Director Greibel and Corporation Counsel Mayatki.
Okay, where is the...
Mackey, I believe, is completely on board with that.
I make a motion that everything that Corporate Counsel Mayatki said.
I got a question, though, on the contingency of corporate counsel. What would it be contingent upon?
It would be making sure that the language was language that I found to end up being acceptable. I already read 2.3 to you at the study session clearly. And since we just negotiated this out in the hallway, I have to end up thinking through the language with regard to 8.5, but I don't expect that Mr. Mackey and his attorney and I and Mr. Greibel will have any difficulty with regard to doing that.
Mr. Mackey, is it including everything we had discussed in the study session before us?
I'm good with this agreement. I'd like to move forward. And
does it include the 15 years for both the field and the arena?
No, it does not.
That was something that we had discussed and we had all thought, we felt very strong on.
Yeah,
I feel the two go.
He's fine.
Are you accepting this the way it is,
Well,
Mr.
I think he's forced into it. I'm looking at him.
I want to move forward. I'm going to go ahead and accept this agreement, and I'm hoping that, in the next 12 years, this body sees what kind of work I do and how I associate with the youth, and hopefully you'll say stay here as long as you want.
Okay, that's fine then.
All right.
Do I get a second on the motion?
Second.
Second by Councilman Bazey. Is there any discussion? Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. Motion's carried.
Welcome aboard. Thank you.
Thank you.
Very much.
Good luck.
Okay, next we have reports from city officials. Treasurer Riley, its investment of funds report for June 30th, 2018.
Madam Chair.
Councilwoman Hicks Clayton.
Move to accept the investment funds report as a received note and file as outlined in 9A.
Support.
Supported by Councilman Constant. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. Next on reports from city councils, we have Councilman Bazey, city budget amendment.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
I move the council to adopt the budget amendment The city cannot afford the increase in these salaries or added position at this time. We need to remove the following. I don't know if you want me to read all of them. 1.0.171, 06. Reduce that. Take the salary to what it was before we approved the budget from 80 to 59.
Can you speak up, please?
Oh, sorry. Item 101.223, 706. Reduce salary from 75,000 back to 67. Item 101.226.06.00 from 75 back to 67. Item 101.300.706.000 from 75 back to 54. Item 101.426.706.000 from 75 to 54. 101.300.691.00. We'd like to remove that position at this time. And also the 101.335691. Also like to remove that position at this time. The total to go to the general fund, which is 101.00.699.00 of $199,330.01, as outlined in 9B.
Thank you. Do I hear a second?
I was second it, just for, so we can open up.
Councilman Hicks Clayton seconds it. Any discussion?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Councilwoman?
You know, we went through, and I know Councilman Bazzi, we talked about this a little bit, and I agree. I mean, there's some concern with the financial stability and what's going on. You know, in particular in light with the Department of Treasury letter that we now are aware of, but we were not aware of or made aware of during the budget hearings, which would have been a good time to tell us about it.
Yeah.
That there's an action plan needed, a corrective action plan by Michigan Department of Treasury. But with that, I have a question. I mean, and rolling back the salaries to what they were before we voted on the budget in May, I mean, because I spoke out on several times about different items and different positions and different salaries, but if we're going to do something like this, I really think, and I don't know how much control we have because there's a board that does this, I think as council members we should also roll back. If we're going to do it for the department heads, we should do it for ourselves and reduce that 10%. I'll be the first to sign up, and you can start that immediately. We can do that without anybody's approval.
We can make that next meeting or something if you want.
And then I do have, just real quick, is the deputy chief position, Chief Brogan, would you mind, because my concern is, I want to know, because we had a conversation, I need you to help recreate that conversation on the importance of that position, in particular with the firefighters and what happens at a fire and the oversight and how that works for safety.
Sure. That second deputy chief position is just a temporary position, and it's designed to look into the feasibility of a battalion chief position. That's what we're trying to ultimately get to. That's something that the department is in need of, is 3 battalion chiefs, 1 for each unit. Right now, you have A, B, and C unit, and you need to have 1 person in charge of each unit, which we don't have right now. You have people in charge at each station, but not 1 person overseeing the entire unit. And that's the traditional model of literally every fire department around us, except for the departments that only have 1 station. There's multiple reasons. I don't think we have time to list all of them right now, but the most important one being safety. We've changed our response procedures to get us to the NFPA recommended a minimum of 16 firefighters at the scene of a fire. Not that long ago, we only had 10 firefighters showing up at a fire. It was much easier to manage 10 firefighters just jumping off a truck, and you can manage 10. When there's 20 people, you need to have different tools in place to safely manage that scene. And the battalion chief position would do that. And so the temporary position that we have in here was to study the feasibility of that position so we don't lose track of any firefighters. We're doing everything in the most safe, efficient way. It's safer for the firefighters. It's a better response for the citizens. It'll put fires out safer and get more firemen on scene and put them to use in the proper way. quicker.
May I have a follow-up question to that, Madam Chair?
Go ahead.
Let me ask you, by adding this position, because you said it's temporary based on what you're trying to accomplish, feasibility and whatnot, by adding that, does that impact the hiring or placement of a future fire chief?
Of a future fire chief, it should not, no.
Okay.
Okay.
Madam Chair.
Councilman Wenzel?
Chief, can you tell us the procedure of hiring this person, where this person's going to come from?
Yeah, this would be it'd just be a promotion. One of our current captains would be eligible to test for that position. They would test and move up, and then it would create a vacancy. You know, there would be, we have to fill all the vacancies that would occur from moving a captain up.
Thank you.
We have to comply with Act 78, which is Police and Fire Civil Service.
All right. Councilman Abdullah?
Madam Chair, I'm trying to understand this, to be honest with you. With due respect, we did this when we had the budgets. We went back and forth, negotiated, talked, the numbers, everything. Controller, accountants, mayor, us, all of us negotiated, talked. And now and I'm just thinking this just from a pure business aspect. And now we're going to walk through this company or this city and go through department head by department head and go, because the specific department heads were not named. So just think about this, just in terms of the morale. You're going to walk through, you're going to go grant coordinator, which I've been told is probably one of the best based on Chief's opinion. This is one of the best, and these are very hard to come by. And then we're going to reduce their salary by $20,000. Then we're going to go to the controller, who we just hired, and we looked at the salaries already, and we're going to reduce her $7,500. Then we're going to go to the HR director, which in my opinion is one of the best, and then take her from $75,000 to $67,500. We've already agreed on the emergency manager coordinator's salary to go to $75,000, drop down to $54,000. Then we're going to go to the ordinance director, who's doing a very good job, and go from $75,000 to $54,000. Investigative service secretary position, which the police department said was very important to them, and we all voted and agreed. And now we're going to take that away, and then we're going to go to the fire chief, and then cancel another position.
Okay.
When you do that, and you walk through a city, and you just knock off their salaries, the morale here is going to just go right in the hole. It's absolutely crazy, in my opinion.
Councilman Muscat?
Confidence in the system.
Okay, Madam.
Procedure in that.
Okay.
Because this should have been discussed when we had the budgets, not now.
Councilman Muscat is next, please.
With looking at this, I don't think I can make a decision on this today, tomorrow. Just takes a lot of thinking. I have been in a position that I've wanted to wait for the Plant Moran audit, and I think it's coming, correct me if I'm wrong, in October.
Could be November.
Okay, and it's not that far away that we can look at all the finances, see what deficiencies that have been corrected, what haven't been corrected, and I think that would be a wise thing for us to do before we jump to any conclusions like this. As much as I like to save $200,000, and I was very boisterous on some of these raises myself, and I didn't agree with all of them, but the wise thing to do is wait till you get the proper numbers. And without getting the proper numbers, we're going to create a nightmare for ourselves, and come October, November, say, oh my God, we made a mistake. Then we can go back and attack it. Keep this on for a study session after we get Plant Moran's.
Madam Chair.
Councilman Bazey.
Yeah, the reason why I put the amendment in place is because this was actually not presented to us when we made the decision on a salary. So we have March 1st from the state of Michigan. It was sent to the City Hall. It says here, City of Dearborn Heights. They needed an answer by April 16th, 2018. Okay, they wanted to know about if the city wants to put a waiver for the unfunded status for you mentioned the OPEB for the healthcare for the retirees. Okay, nothing was submitted. So this was not shown to us where we made the decision on adding the 2 positions and also the salary increase. There was nothing made. And that was March 1st, 2018 again. So May 17th, 2018, the state didn't hear anything. So guess what? They put us in a status that we have to have a corrective action within 180 days of May 17, 2018. We're in August, and the mayor has not really told us about his plan for this unfunded liabilities. And if you look at the state has, okay, they do document $168,693, $693.4439. And according to this here, it says annual required contribution is $13,983 roughly. So there's nothing that was presented to us when we made our decision, and then we get this. And that's the reason why I put this amendment.
Madam Chair.
Councilman Constant?
These numbers, where they came from, the process-wise, Councilwoman Clayton just said, well, we need to revisit the Compensation Commission recommendation. We'll be redoing everything all day, all the time. I don't know where these numbers came from. There was some discussion, I got a call about the deputy chief position. These are drastic changes that we can't just vote in with no further information.
I guess I remember when we did the budget, we were encouraged to pass it with the possibility of changing it at any time, because we could make a change whenever we felt necessary. And I do understand Councilman Bazey has the letter there that was hidden from us. Had we known that, we probably wouldn't have approved.
Who was that letter addressed to? It was not addressed to me. I did not see that letter. Who's the addressee? It did not come.
City of Dearborn Heights.
You represent our city, and I didn't get it.
Come to me.
Do you know who got
I did
it?
not see that letter.
Okay, I understand. Who got it then?
And that's why, but I was aware, because I go to Western Lane and downriver, and on the waivers, every community that applied, I believe, was turned down. But how are you going to declare a waiver when the only balance you have is $2 million, and all the communities that received a denial on their waiver, the state was going to indicate to them the reason for the denial. There's nothing in those letters.
I guess we need to know who's responsible for opening the city mail, because if this is missing, then what else is missing?
Madam Chair, it is sent via email to our comptroller, but I can't imagine our comptroller wouldn't tell you about this, Mr. Mayor.
She did not receive it.
Right here. I mean, it was sent by email on May 17th.
I did not receive the email. After reading the second notice that said that we had to do the corrective action plan, it was in a junk email that is still blank email addressed to controller that wasn't directed to me since I started.
And as soon as she became aware of it, she came to me about it.
Attention of the mayor.
Yep.
Just to give you a note, we did have a meeting today regarding the corrective action plan and the waiver. The waiver was not required because I contacted the state as soon as I realized I got the second letter. If you look on the state's website, 90%, I think it was, but don't quote me on the exact number, of the cities that applied for a waiver were denied.
Well, we're talking about Dearborn Heights. So.
Yeah, but we need to apply it individually.
No, that this process is a new process through the state, and they don't have a full handle on it yet. And it's just, we're going through the process. We met with Mike Moran today regarding handling this
We got to work on it, and it's a team effort. So I am being honest, to get charged with, I never hide stuff from you people.
Understandable, but we need to know who opens the mail for the city, because they need to be held responsible.
I was in the legislature
because they need to let you know, because this doesn't make you look good, whoever's opening the mail.
I was very angry because I knew at some point there'd be an inquiry, and I did not see it. But I did not, honestly, I did not get that.
I get you, Councilman Mustat.
Again, I'm going to say that we need to hold off till we get this Plant Moran audit, make sure that everything's, that we're on the right path. And then we can come back and revisit this if we are truly in a place where we can't afford to do something. We have that ability. Council has that ability to look back at the budget and do that. So but I don't think this is a good time to say yes or no on this at the present time.
I agree.
That's my opinion. We can take a vote. Councilman Bazey deserves a vote. Anytime anybody puts something on the agenda, deserves a vote.
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
No.
Motion fails.
Madam Chair, may I make a second motion on this item, please?
Go ahead.
To move it to a study session. We need a motion.
Second.
to do so.
Okay. Let's move it to a study session then.
All in favor?
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Opposed.
Councilman Wenzel is opposed. Okay, next item on the reports from city officials, we have the CEDD Director Hashem, FY 2016 Parkland Park ADA Restroom Project Payment Request Number 7.
Madam Chair,
Councilman Constant?
move we concur with our CDBG Director, Joe Hashem, and approve the payment request number 7 as outlined in 9C.
Support.
Supported by Councilwoman Hicks Clayton. Is there any discussion?
Chair,
Councilman Muscat?
is this an addition of $50,000, or is this the last payment for this bathroom? Because I see a balance to finish, including retainage, is $23,115.
Yeah, there's still one last retainage we're holding until all the punch list items are completed. This is for the work that's been completed up to this point.
So right now, with this $50,000 plus, we're almost at $200,000 with the $50,000.
That is correct.
So then the 23 will take us to the 224, whatever
Right,
it was.
because we had a change order in it.
Yeah, we had one change, yeah, I remember that for the overhead door and, okay, that's the only question I wanted to.
All right.
Madam Chair,
Councilman Muscat, I'm Councilman Bazey.
is that the same restroom we were discussing at the last meeting with the issues with it?
That is correct. But all the rest issues have been rectified, all electricity has been reconnected. That really was out of the scope of that contractor, but the work has been completed, and football building has been reconnected, and the pavilion has been reconnected.
Is the field getting irrigated?
What's that?
The field getting irrigated?
The field got irrigated 20 minutes after the power was turned back on.
Thank you.
And then, of course, we've had a ton of rain.
I know. So it's going over budget, it looks like.
What was the original quote? Was it at 200,000?
I'd have to go back and look at what the exact quote was.
Are we over budget on this?
No, we are not.
Okay.
That was 200.
We had a change order.
I believe it was 250. I could be wrong, but I think it was 250. Somewhere around 250.
All right, and any other questions? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Councilman Bazey is opposed. Motion's carried. Next, we have Fire Chief Brogan, purchase refrigerators from HQ.
Madam Chair.
Councilwoman Hicks Clayton.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Move to concur with Fire Chief David Brogan's request and approve the purchase for 3 refrigerators for HQ. The total cost is $2,805 to be paid from capital outlay upon receipt as outlined in 9D.
Support.
Supported by Councilman Bazey. Is there any discussion?
Yes, Madam Chair. Question?
Councilwoman Hicks Clayton.
For Chief Brogan. So it looks like one of the units is completely broken. The other 2, just the ice makers aren't working. What do you do with the other 2 units?
We're going to put...
Just the ice makers are...
Yeah, we're going to put them in each app room at both stations, and we're going to use that to store water and Gatorade.
All right, thank you.
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. Next, we have Emergency Management Director Laszlo, Metro Act permit for Verizon Access Transmission Services.
Madam Chair,
Councilman Abdullah.
I move that we authorize the mayor and city clerk to sign the document with Metro Act permit for Verizon Access Transmission Services, and this is a standard application and was reviewed by Assistant Corporation Counsel Neil Leto as itemized in item 9E.
Support. Council Chair.
Supported by...
I think this is AT&T and not Verizon. Everything else I read on here is AT&T.
So, is it AT&T? Okay, it's AT&T. All right. So it's the Metro Act permit for AT&T Access Transmission Services.
Are we going to amend it before we approve
Should we amend it?
Yeah.
discussion.
Okay, I amend my motion to change the clerical error and make it AT&T.
Support.
Supported by Councilman Constant. Is there any further discussion?
Madam Chair?
Councilman Wenzel?
Can you give an explanation of what this is? Is there, what is this contract, or what is this?
There was a state law, maybe 2004, 2005, that was for deregulation. Before that, the cities would all have to approve any cable company. We had a cable commission. Any cable company would have to get approval by the cable commission and then by the council to offer cable service into a city, and it was called a Metro Act permit. And we charge a fee, and each city would charge a different fee. When it was deregulated, this is pretty much a pen stroke now. The state says how much money we get. Any cable company can come into the city as long as they follow the state rules. And the Metro Act permit, that used to be a really thick contract, is now a letter. It's almost pointless to even, I mean, you can sign it, you don't have to approve it, but either way, they continue to offer service to the city.
Would this involve more wires being put up if?
No, this does allow them to maintain their equipment, though. But if they have to do any extra work, they do have to contact the building department and then MISTIG, which we talked about earlier.
Okay.
Madam Chair?
Councilman Bazey?
I don't see any money attached to this or RFPs. Again, you know, it looks like it's a blank. There's no money with the contract.
Under state law, we have basically no choice but to go along and do this.
So you just leave it
This is the only
They
company?
either do it, or, I mean, it's only if they try to sneak something in, then that's why Mr. Leto, who's an expert in this area, ends up reviewing these things to see if they're trying to sneak anything. And other than that, we're just basically stuck with it because the state has said, this is the way it's going to be.
Okay,
Even
so
if we
then you
don't
just leave it
approve it.
blank because there's no choice anyways. It's just
make all
a
the
set price. Got it. Okay, any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. Motion is carried. Next, Emergency Manager Director Laszlo, 24046 Hanover, 24058 Hanover, and 24066 Hanover purchase agreements.
Madam Chair,
Councilwoman Hicks Clayton.
move to approve the purchase agreements for 24046, the amount of $100,000. 24058 Hanover, the amount is $108,000. And 24066 Hanover, the amount is $109,000. And authorize the mayor and city clerk to sign, and also authorize the closing cost for each property not to exceed $2,500, and the property taxes associated with each parcel as outlined in 9F.
Second.
Second by Councilman Abdullah. Any discussion?
Madam Chair?
Councilman Bazey.
So these homes, are they going for demolition? First question.
Yeah. If I could actually give a little bit more than that. We had 15 homes that were under the original grant, the HMGP 4195. All 15 homes have been taken down, and Wade Trim is getting us a design of what it will look like for the flower garden, the plantings and stuff. We had enough money with the design and other things to get the 3 alternate properties purchased under this grant. So yes, all of these properties will be demolished. All of these properties will have a native species plantings done to reduce the flooding in that area. These are separate, though. These are on the other side of Telegraph. They're west of Telegraph from the 15 that we originally applied for.
Okay.
Madam Chair?
Councilman Bazey?
I want to go on record so nobody comes back and say, hey, you know, the people did the work already, let's pay them. I want to see an RFP for the demolition and any work to be done for the demolition, so I want to be on record. I need to see
I can
an
show you
RFP.
that. It was already done in December of 2 years ago. It's done a blanket RFP for all the homes.
Well, I'd like to have it presented maybe in a study session or the next meeting, please.
I'll give it to you now. I'll email it to you tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. Next, we have Police Chief Gavin. Software for dispatch approval to purchase and pay.
Council Chair.
Councilman Muscat.
I move City Council concur with Chief Leave Gavin on the purchase of software for dispatch. The cost for Power Phone for the cost is $3,525. As outlined in 9G.
Support.
Supported by Councilman Bazey. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion's carried. Next, we have Police Chief Gavin Tourniquets approval to purchase and pay.
Council Chair.
Councilman Muscat.
I also recommend council approve the purchase and payment for tourniquets. The amount is $3,787.55 from the JAG, and $35 shipping will be paid from the Department Special Services account as outlined in 9H. That'll save some lives here.
Supported by Councilman Abdullah. Any further discussion?
Chair.
Councilman Bazey.
Do an amendment to correct the council chair name on here is incorrect.
Okay, they have Councilman Constant instead of me.
Oh.
So.
How about that?
That will change. Carolyn's going to
update your.
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. Motion is carried. Next, we have a Public Service Administrator Zimmer, 2017 paving improvements to Valley View and Lewis Manor subdivisions, change order number 2 and pay certificate number 4 approval.
Council Chair.
Councilman Abdullah.
I move that we concur with DPW Director William Zimmer to reconciling the change order number 2 and payment certificate number 4 prepared by Wade Trim for 2017 paving improvements in the Valley View and Lewis Manor subdivisions. And the change order number 2 adjusts the pay items for work actual performed, resulting in a decrease of $86,834.33 to the contract price, as itemized in item 9I.
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Hicks Clayton. Any discussion?
Chair.
Councilman Muscat.
Earlier today, a gentleman came up and was talking about his property in the Lewis Manor subdivision. I went out and saw this. That road's been in bad shape for a number of years. And I can see the poor workmanship there. I mean, it's just visual. And he had some concerns, and believe me, I like to see this decrease of $86,000, a lot of money. But until something gets done to do the job right, you come there and just throw something together and get paid for it. We can't do this anymore. We can't throw good money at a bad job. And I've seen it. I've seen the division down the center of the line as the asphalt is coming toward the curb. Some curbs are non-existent anymore. And it's so thin, the gravel and the cement that was below it is already showing. And it's less than a year old. And it's the same concern I had with the pavement that was done on Haas, the pavement that was done on John Daly. We're throwing good money at these companies, regardless if they were the lowest bid or not. I expect them to still do a quality job. So how do you hold someone responsible if you keep paying them? I don't know what the answer is, and I understand they did all the work already. But how do we get by? Mr. Brooks, the gentleman said he tried to call your company in a few times, and now nobody wants to call him back. So he's got water standing in his driveway where he never had it before. This winter's going to be disastrous for him. These people are all senior citizens. What are they going to do when they go to take their trash cans out? And they have to put them on the driveways, and it's all full of ice.
Okay.
What are they going to do?
Well, we've addressed every comment we had. I'd have to check our records on that address and the phone calls. But it was because...
I know you were on, he told me you were on vacation, so, you know, you get a buy on that.
It is, the grade there is very, very shallow in terms of slope. All right, it's very tough to get a good grade on the asphalt resurfacing. We can go back out and check the grades and see what we can do to correct the low points, and we'll check the center line. There is contingency, or there is still money being held on the contract to correct deficiencies. And we do have a bond on the project, too.
Because he did state that they replaced driveways to try to eliminate that.
Right.
And of course, taxpayers paid for all
The
of
fall
that.
across the driveway it's about an inch and 20 feet. So it's
I'm just saying, but they replaced driveways to try to do away with that problem. One neighbor there, and I know who they are, I grew up on that street, they didn't opt to have their driveway changed. I mean, he said it was just crazy to do it. And yet, it still hasn't caused a problem, and we paid more money to get that done, and I want to see it get fixed somehow.
Okay, thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman Hicks Clayton, please.
That was going to be my line of questioning. Since it's not really a warranty issue, I would imagine it'd be a performance issue as far as by contract provided for with the issues that we're hearing. And who does the inspection, that final inspection of that product before we actually issue a payment? Because it sounds like there's some problems that, really it's a performance issue of by contract provided for. So who does that inspection before this comes before us to pay for it?
Well, we do the final inspection and final recommendation to the city. I was unaware of the center line issue, and we will go out there and check that tomorrow.
I have
but
that
again,
on my street,
this is
too.
adjustment for the work they've done already. They have a performance bond, and we do have retainage on the project to try to take care of these issues.
I thank you very kindly.
So, Madam,
Councilman Bazey?
so for the next meeting or the next time this item comes up for agenda, for the remaining in the money, all the problems will be fixed? Is that okay? So I guess the residents, whoever the resident was here, could you please let us know if it doesn't get done in next, is there a timeline, sir?
Mr. Brooks come up when I talk to you at the end, too?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, that'd be perfect. Okay, Councilman Wenzel.
Yeah, I don't know who to direct this to. What kind of warranty do these contractors provide, and for how long, or can you give the details on that?
It's a 1 year.
1 year from time of completion?
Good, because mine's bad, too.
Upon acceptance by the city. Accepted by the city, final payment, then it's 1 year warranty.
Okay. Any other questions?
Madam Chair?
Councilman Bazey.
With the amount of complaints that we've had on this particular company, again, before we renew the contract, we would like to also send it out for other companies, not just the lowest bidder, but the one that can have better warranty and better customer service.
Okay, any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The motion is carried. Next, Public Service Administrator Zimmer, Lewis Manor Resurfacing Program, Hutch Paving Contract Amendment.
It's the same one.
It's J.
Madam
That was
Chair,
I.
in light of all of this, I'm not prepared to vote yes on this. To renew it. I'm just not until that's worked out.
Okay, I'm not either. So motion failed.
Yeah, there's no.
Motion failed, no support.
We have to take a vote on that. I mean, we just...
If we don't, nobody,
Move it to a
it
study
failed.
session if you want, or table.
The motion failed because nobody,
This goes to a study session, then, or I move
nobody
to-
supported it, though. It fails.
Okay.
Next, we have Public Service Administrator Zimmer, 2018-2019 Street Repair Program, Hard Rock Concrete Contract Amendment. And that also fails.
Well, no, I'm still reading a little bit here.
Okay.
They're not even making on either one of them.
I move to approve wage trims later dated August 1st, 2018, to amend the contract with Hard Rock Concrete for road reconstruction along Annapolis Avenue and Monroe Boulevard to Grinley Park. Fenton Avenue from George Avenue to Haas Avenue, and George Avenue from Fenton Avenue to City Hall as outlined in 9K.
Support.
Supported by Councilman Constant.
Madam Chair, we've had a lot of approvals and compliments towards Hard Rock Concrete, unlike the Hutch.
Okay.
But, Council Chair, another thing, Hard Rock, I believe, is the company that did Haas, and they're in the process of going to repair
So they
Haas.
warranty
So
their work, so.
They're doing the job that they're we hired them to do, and that's what I'm for. The other one, obviously, we had a problem with, but they're standing behind their work, and they agreed to replace for free the section of Hass that's...
Madam Chair?
Okay, Councilman Abdullah.
Mr. Mayor, I'm just curious, somebody like Hard Rock Concrete, did they bid on the other job, the one that is it Hutchinson or Hutch?
No.
They did not bid at all?
No, correct me if I'm wrong, Dan, but it's two different kinds of work.
So they don't do that work? Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. Motion is carried. Next, under ordinances and resolutions, we have Councilman Bazey. Cancel the purchase of Warren Valley Golf Course resolution.
Madam Chair,
Councilman Bazey?
I'd like to amend my resolution here. I mean, I understand it's sleeting. Again, you know, I'm for the purchase. The only concern that I had, as I mentioned earlier, I just need clarification with the budget that we have for the last 3 years. And also, I know we moved this, we wanted to go to a study session, but I want to see a business plan from the mayor on the golf course. And also, I'd like to see if the administration doesn't have an issue, you know, to also put a deed restriction. I mean, I am for the golf course. I love golfing, but again, I don't want this golf course few years or whatever that we decide like, hey, we can't make any money on it. We, you know, put it in front of us again, say, hey, I have to sell it. Otherwise, our city is in trouble. So I would like to at least put some type of ordinance on it to put a deed restriction that it'll only be used as recreation.
Council Chair?
Councilman Muscat?
We have a resolution in front of us that we have to have a motion on to either accept or not accept. The portion that Councilman Bazey brings up, which I'm in favor of a deed restriction, has to come out after we purchase the golf course. Mm-hmm. We've discussed this over and over again, and I feel that we should make a motion so we can vote on this, so the people of the citizens can be rest assured they get a golf course. Mm-hmm. We have this resolution. We have to just can't say. We make a motion to accept this and then get a second, and we can go from there and take a vote.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Wenzel?
I did some research. I contacted 7 golf courses in the area. This is real brief here. These are some of the conclusions I come up with. For one, it's a Donald Ross designed golf course. It was opened in 1922, and as stated by one of the residents, there's only one of 9 left in the world. He designed golf courses all over the world, not just the United States. And I spoke with the manager there. He said he's already had one wedding canceled because of the rumors the golf course will be sold for next year, and several inquiries. There's a interest in having a driving range put in for additional funds. It is a recreational facility for the city, and we got to honor that because we need more recreation for our residents. A golf simulator, I talked to a gentleman, a golf simulator could be put into the existing building, which would generate funds during the winter. There's, I talked to a golf course in Troy. They have a snowmobile track on the perimeter of their golf course where it doesn't interfere in any of the golf greens or fairways, and they generate money that way. And the property on Warren could be leased out to a developer so we get constant income and develop it for some commercial retail stores right in front of there, except for the entryway. And
that's diverting water.
Well, it's just that's a way to generate consistent money. And cross country skiing in the wintertime. Mm-hmm. And the 7 golf courses I've talked to, they said their golf has gone up in the last few years. And I talked to a real estate people, and they say that golf course right now could sell tomorrow for $3 million.
Triple that.
Triple that, yeah.
Madam Chair?
Councilman Constant?
So procedurally, because we debated about the city buying the golf course, then turning around and selling it to developers, which we're buying it, so it remains a green space, it remains a golf course, it won't be developed. We have the resolution, we have to vote on it.
Madam Chair. Well, I moved to move my motion into a study session, and I would like to come back with another motion to
Vote on it.
Madam Chair,
Councilman Abdullah?
we've already decided as a body that we are buying this golf course. Let's just move forward with the purchase, rescind this, not accept this, and then continue on with the purchase of the golf course and keep the golf course owned by the city of Dearborn Heights.
We need to have a
urge
motion.
our council, I know. I urge my fellow council people not to make the mistake.
Make the motion then.
Well, I make the motion that we rescind this and we move forward with the purchase of the golf course from the county of Wayne. Thank you.
Second.
Madam Chair.
Second by Councilwoman Hicks Clayton.
I think he's
Madam Chair, this
Corporate Counsel?
saying that you're going to rescind something is kind of misleading in this context. It really should be a motion to reject the proposed resolution that's 11A.
I make a motion to reject Resolution 11A and continue through with the purchase of the golf course from the county of Wayne.
Okay.
I already said.
Second by Hicks Clayton.
Madam Chair, real quick, correct me if I'm wrong, and I think it's so important to follow through on this purchase for many, many reasons, which I have already stated previously. But and I agree, it needs to be rezoned for recreation use only, and you can expand on the recreation opportunities, because that is a beautiful gem in our community, and we certainly want to keep it that way.
Thank you. Any further discussion?
Madam Chair, just real quickly.
Mayor?
We don't need an ordinance calling that recreation. No, wait a minute. I have been in discussions. There was a gentleman who was at the original meeting when Diane Webb had it at the center. Some of you that were there will remember he came up and he has an expertise in keeping recreational land permanently recreational. I have been in contact with him and his organization. As soon as Dearborn Heights purchases this, I will have him come in and his organization will assist us. And I believe, Commissioner Webb, you helped me meet this guy. Yes. And that, because let me tell you the problem with an ordinance. They can go ahead and pass 100 ordinances. 2 years from now, look at what happened tonight. And then a new council comes in, they don't know the history, and they go, we revoked that ordinance. I'm telling you, we got to protect this, because when I'm long and gone, I want to make sure that it is still a golf course banquet.
Okay, point of order. Okay, at this time, we have Councilwoman Hicks Clayton.
Mayor Pleco, is that the conservation easement you're referring to?
Correct.
So when I brought that up previously, I had zero support, including you and Gary, respectfully, you said no. And so now it's an option?
No. That was the idea of trying to change it and putting it into an agreement that we were having with the county.
Yes.
Which is unnecessary at this point, because it would make no sense. You don't put that in there at this point. After we have the property, we can end up evaluating whether or not we have some sort of conservation easement, like you're talking about. This is being done in a lot of different places, and or ordinances or things like that, but the mayor is correct. If an ordinance is passed, it could end up just simply being changed by this body after the fact. So some sort of combination of legal restrictions would probably be a good idea.
It was your timing is what it was.
Yeah, and also, Gary, with how slow this process has been, if we add one more condition to the county, with all due respect, Diane, but if we add one more condition or two more conditions to the county, with how slow the process has gone, this is just going to delay things and delay things and delay things.
I agree 110%.
We purchase it, we close the deal on it, it is ours, and then we decide what conditions we want to put on ourselves.
That's how it has to work. That's how it really works.
I've said that before, that we have to own it.
Councilman Muscat?
Before we do something, And I highly recommend we do some sort of legal deed restriction that'll go on forever. And that's, you know.
Well, yeah, because obviously we're worried at this point, it could be sold to a developer or we could buy it. So there's no restriction on there right now what can be done with it after it's purchased by whoever.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, but we don't want to back out of it so we don't let somebody else buy it.
No.
Once it's purchased, we do that ourselves to ourselves. We put that restrictions on ourselves.
Yes.
Right now, we can't go back to the negotiating table because we're at the point where, and I'm hoping it happens, we get this liquor license transfer, and I sure the heck don't know what's holding that up, because I'd like to talk to those people myself if we don't get this done here. I spoke with our commissioner, and we were supposed to be done at the end of last month, and here we are, August. We bought this thing in December. We've lost a whole golfing season.
I got a question, Council.
I wanted to get it done, but we need to vote on this.
Thank you.
On Councilman Abdullah's motion.
Councilman Yaki, I understand it was the underwriters that were holding it up at this point. Is that not correct?
That is correct.
Yes. Okay, so the liquor license is all done.
Underwriter for the concessionaire that we're using, we don't have our insurance, or basically MMRMA does not end up providing this kind of coverage.
Correct.
So we have to use theirs, and the holdups have been almost completely unexplainable.
Okay.
I've been pestering them regularly.
Madam Chair?
Councilman Abdullah?
Also, I want to clarify, you don't, just in terms of just pure business or pure negotiations or pure legalese, you don't put conditions on yourself as a purchaser as to what I, as a purchaser, can use it for. Let's do that after we close the deal, no problem. But when you're negotiating with the seller, which in this case is the county, you don't go to them, not to mention the delay that will cause, but you don't go to them, hey, I'd like to put a condition on myself as to what I could use it for. That just pure legalese doesn't make any sense. Once we close the deal, it will have no delay, and then we can put whatever conditions we want as a body, no problem.
We hashed that out before.
But then, let's get this deal closed.
Madam Chair?
Councilman Bazey?
Again, I'll even vote against this here, but I still need assurance from the city to put an ordinance in place that this would be limited. So we do need to bid, because you know what, we can purchase the golf course, because you know what, it took 6 months to negotiate Canfield, so an attorney can start putting an ordinance in place right now. We don't have to, it's not pending this, we still have to put something on. We're going to purchase the golf course, but it's going to probably take, with the way the administration goes, probably 6 to 8 months putting a contract or putting something on a deed afterwards. So we need to have at least a draft for us to review, so when it's closed, then we can push that through.
I can assure you the first thing that I'll do is put a request in for a deed restriction.
Thank you.
And I think Councilwoman Hicks Clayton has done it before. I think she's got everything ready to go. We can do that the minute we sign on the dotted line, and I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I don't have a problem with that.
Any further discussion at this point? Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye, I'll vote.
Well,
Clarify
for
the motion,
clarification,
please.
can you please clarify so that nobody does a wrong vote, because we've done this before.
Yeah. Okay, this
So,
is for cancel the
Do you want this
purchase.
to pass or not pass? That's probably the easiest way.
Well, your motion.
Cancel the purchase of
My
Warren
motion's
Valley, yes or
canceled.
no?
Okay, so I motion to cancel this.
To reject.
Reject this.
So you're going to have to vote
Reject the
no to
resolution.
cancel it. So you're,
Oh, yes.
You're rejecting the resolution.
That is-
Sorry if I remove it.
A vote of, I just want to clarify, because we don't want to vote wrong. If you vote, I've already put in a motion to reject this. So if I vote yes, that means I would like to close the deal with Wayne County, correct?
We're saying to
Okay.
reject this resolution and to close the deal with Wayne
But
County.
by a vote of yes,
That's what it does.
you're voting that
Okay.
you want to close the deal.
That is correct.
Thank you.
okay.
I supported that.
All the, Councilman Constant supports it. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? The ayes have it. Motion is carried. We will purchase the golf course. Okay, all right, let's wrap this up. Next we're at the end, we have comments from council members.
Chair.
Councilman Muscat.
A few things. Number one, Mr., I believe
Oh, wait,
this.
you know what? Before everybody leaves, I want to thank everyone for taking their time to come tonight. It was important you were here. We do have a little bit few more minutes. If you would like to stay, that'd be great. Okay, go ahead, Councilman Muscat.
When are we going to get the signs that say restrict the parking on garbage day?
Amen. That was the
We have to have it. This is not some sort of magical wording that goes on these signs. It says no parking from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. on a day of trash pickup.
Yes.
We bought the machine to make signs. We bought the software to make signs.
It's for the mayor.
We've had this for,
He's being addressed.
I don't know, we've been going through this for over a year for a sign. I mean, a silly sign. It's time we put the signs up starting tomorrow. I mean, come on. It doesn't take long. Okay? And one other thing here, that all the council people have received this from people by Parkland Park. The massive parking that's been going on. This has been multiple times that she's reached out to the city. Okay? You can see the pictures here of the cars that are parked, blocking their trash containers. Okay, I mean, what's it take for residents to get a no parking sign between a certain amount of time where these people could actually be parking in the park at Parkland Park and not block them in? It should be done. They got people coming there to play football. Nobody wants to stop people from playing soccer or whatever, but park in the park. They can walk from their cars to the field. They're parking close.
Councilman Muscat?
They're walking a short distance, and then they leave trash on the street. Got pictures of trash. I went and visited this. This is. It doesn't take much to put a no parking sign up from a certain amount of time when this is happening. Let's help these residents maintain their neighborhood. It's not that difficult. This is more than one time the administration has received this letter. And I'm tired of looking at the letter without commenting on it, because I feel like I'm doing them a disservice. We have to do something. We have to help them.
Okay.
I mean, I wouldn't want to have that in front of my house all the time.
Thank you. Councilman Abdullah?
Council Chair, just want to let you know, I spoke with the resident, and I see the problem. I've seen the pictures. I'm not an expert on this, but I see definitely the problem there. I'd have a hard time with it if it was my house. But she mentioned, because I said to her, why don't a lot of people park just inside the park? She mentioned that, and I don't know, Mr. Mayor, who's responsible for that, but she said that the gate is locked for people to be able to drive their cars in and park. I don't know if that's a county thing or our thing, but that's just, logically, that'd be the best way to do this, unlock the gates.
We met with the residents, and we've actually, Bill Zimmer came up, because at one point in time, there was an opening, and Ken, you need to assist me on this, because you've met too. We talked with the residents, and while they were not 100% in agreement, we believe that we'll be able to solve that parking. And we indicated to them, the residents I've been meeting with, or we've been meeting with, included both the chief, Bill Zimmer, and Ken Greibel, and we offered them. Some of them didn't like the solution, some did, but we said we're going to institute it, because that was a solution that was done in the past, and it seemed we didn't have this problem. And then when they restricted it, that's when this problem developed. So we're going to go back and open it up.
Yeah, I think it'd be a good idea.
And so it's just a matter of getting it open up, and hopefully it'll be quickly.
And the other
but
thing,
also, side note, I think I see that issue during football games. Like I mentioned, my son played football there with the Dearborn Heights Raiders, but that's just one time or 3 games. I should say 3 games a week, and that's it. But with soccer games, which are more pickup games, where I don't know, soccer I think it's 5-on-5 if I'm not mistaken, plus the extra players. So with just pickup games, it could happen at any time or any night, obviously, and then suddenly you have 20, 30, 40 cars. So then, therefore, now the residents are having to deal with this not only on the weekend when there's football games, but also continuously during soccer games. And I do sympathize with them in that case.
And they also, I'm not going to get into details, but there's also a police element to this whole difficulty that they've been assisting us with, but I don't want to get in all the details here. So that is also, we've attempted to.
Well, this is the object, is to get to the details of this so we can relieve the problem. If they're having pickup soccer games at certain times, put up no parking signs for that period of time. Make them go into the park. I mean, we have no parking signs everywhere throughout the city for certain times. This should not be any exception. Okay, that's my recommendation. I want to help these people. These people shouldn't have to put up with this. I mean, these people, some of these players don't even live in Dearborn Heights.
They have
Okay.
a semi-pro team that would come, the guys would stand in their car, change, and then go play.
Yeah, I mean, who wants to have that, watching people change clothes in their car and eating and then throwing a bag out, okay? I know I wouldn't want it. I'd be screaming bloody murder.
Okay.
Just remember, you put no parking signs, it also affects the residents.
Correct, but they're the ones that want it. Then they're going to have to live with it.
Okay.
Madam
Thank
Chair.
Councilman Bazey.
Okay.
I wanted to have the no parking signs start immediately on trash pickup day.
Right, are we ready to?
I don't see why we're not ready. We've got the equipment, we've got the software. God knows we spent a lot of money on it.
Do we have an answer on that when those signs
We don't have an
are ready?
answer.
Our
Councilman
director's
Musk.
not here to answer the
Have
question.
somebody who's here and
you know
explain.
what?
Wait a second.
Hold on.
We
That's what we
have-
agreed to.
We had to get clearance through legal and by the courts because the courts told us they were throwing the tickets out.
Because there was no
Right,
signs.
but during budget,
There were no signs.
but
So
during
we-
budget, the judges did say they were ready to start enforcing it. They said the honeymoon period is over, let's enforce it. And that was during
So-
our budget hearings.
Do we have a date as to how soon?
The signs were ordered 2 weeks ago?
Where did they get ordered from? We bought the
We
equipment.
got the equipment.
For normal street signs. This is like for 300 signs, I think. I'm not sure, but I can check that.
I mean, what
with
did we
Bill.
buy equipment for if we're not using it?
That equipment isn't for that massive amount. That equipment is for normal street signs and other things. That's what that equipment is for. We ordered them. They can get done cheaper and quicker this way in bulk. If we were to order like a Fenton Street sign, that would be more expensive. But because we're ordering the same sign, it's cheaper to just send it out.
Was that put before us to be approved for that? I don't remember that.
No.
You coming
we
before us
didn't
asking for 300 signs to be sent out and made by another company.
Here we go again. We're left out of the loop on this.
Well,
We left out of the loop. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that.
Okay.
You ordered 300 signs, which is well over $1,500, and it sure
I'm not
didn't come
sure
in front
it
of this
is.
board.
I'm not sure it is.
Well, it's more than 15. I can guarantee it's more than $1,500
I don't think so.
for 300 signs.
No, I really don't think so. 'cause
So,
we've got it
again, we're
approved by
left out of the
Gary.
loop. We still have to answer to the residents and the citizens, and I'm left out of the loop that signs have been ordered. That makes
You know when
puts
they're
egg on my
expected?
face.
But it's not.
It is.
Okay, but
Okay,
We've
point
been doing this for over a year. And for a year before,
Councilman.
but for a year before, we signed a trash agreement.
Right.
Before I was a councilman, I stood where you stood many, many times and said, let's get this done now so residents can get used to it before it happens. So on the last day, we say yes to a contract, no parking on the street, and people aren't ready for it. And here we are 2-3 years later, we still don't have a sign. A simple sign.
But with all
This
due
is as
respect-
easy as God knows
It
what.
is,
Thank you, Councilman.
And we had that. We agree. I was right there with
where's
the
the
mayor and
sign?
Gary. We didn't need a sign at first. We weren't told we needed a sign. We enforced it for 3
Common
months.
sense tells you need a sign.
3 months. Well, common sense also says that we don't have something that when it snows, you don't need a sign. So that's what we were going on. And there wasn't an issue for the
You
3
go to
months.
other cities like Allen Park that have these things, they've got signs everywhere, even for snow emergencies. They've got signs.
What we talked about was signs.
Right. So anyways, it was taken.
But that doesn't take much to do, Mr. Councilman.
But I mean, it's
That's
already
all I've
ordered.
been
Let's
saying.
move
For we've
on.
been dragging our feet for this a long time.
Councilman Muscat, do you know when we can expect delivery approximately?
I know he said to take at least 5 weeks, but I can have
Okay.
Bill Zimmer email the council for every.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, Councilwoman Hicks Clayton.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Real quick, two announcements. One, to remind folks that the Salvation Army Back to School Supply Drive has started, and they are looking for school supplies for local students to help them get the supplies they need to have a successful school year. So if you are out shopping, all the sales are happening right now. Pick up some extra items, notebooks, pencils, glue sticks, colored pencils and markers, and drop those off at the Salvation Army, which is here on Warren at 27600 Warren. And they are there, I believe 9 to 5 is their hours, so you can drop that off. And the second thing I have is I would like for us, if we can please, have a moment of silence and extend our sincere, just a horrific accident that happened, we lost a Wayne County Sheriff, Sergeant Lee Smith, today, and we extend those condolences to the Wayne County Sheriff Department family, as well as Sergeant Smith's family as well. So if we can take a moment, please, and thank you. All right, thank you, everyone.
Councilman Wenzel? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I have 12 things. No.
I bet you do.
I have 2 things. One's a question is the DPW director or somebody representing DPW here still? I've got calls from 3 citizens, and it's in regards to the vines that grow on city property up utility poles and on other people's property, and the city has gone out to spray these vines, and they're dead. And they look worse now dead than they are living. Is there anything that the DPW does? Do they follow up and remove the dead vines? Or what's the procedure for that?
There is no procedure. We can look into manpower and time and see if we can't do something about it.
Should they contact the DPW individually, or do you follow up at all?
They can contact the DPW, resubmit their addresses to make sure that we still have the addresses and we can follow up on it.
Okay, and I'd like to make an announcement. The Dearborn Heights District 7 Dads Club, the oldest nonprofit youth sports organization in the country, is starting their football and cheerleading registration the weekend Saturday and Sunday, September 8th and 9th, and Saturday and Sunday, September 15th and 16th at the Richard A. Young Center from 12 noon to 2 p.m. Thank you.
Madam Chair.
Councilman Bazey?
For a few months, about a little over a month ago, Councilman Muscat brought up a concern with some car parts that were purchased. We still haven't had an answer on which vehicle that was purchased on, that Crown Victoria / Grand Marquis.
Yeah, I never did answer.
So we still need an answer where the money went or which vehicle it went to.
Yeah, to piggyback on that, I never did get an answer. Parts were purchased from an auto parts place. I called the auto parts company. They said they were for a Crown Victoria Grand Marquis vehicle, and I've yet to get a VIN number on what that car was for. And I'm still waiting, and I'm still going to hold it to it. Thank you, Mr. Bazey, for bringing that up, because it kind of did slip my mind a little bit. This is other things that get charged to the water department, which I'm flabbergasted about.
Okay, would you like to answer that, Mr. Blackburn?
Those parts for the Crown Vics, the Crown Vics were water department cars. They were extra vehicles in case something had broken down. The meter readers, Rangers, were under recall. They could not drive them. We had to repair the Crown Victorias, which were water department vehicles, for water meter readers to use. So all parts paid for our water department went on a water department vehicle.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
The meter readers all told me that the air conditioning didn't work on those vehicles, and were complaining about other things that were purchased.
Yeah, I understand, but we should be able to get VIN numbers on those vehicles.
Yep.
Okay, any other comments from Councilman Bazey?
Again, as You mentioned, Mayor, now you're aware that the state of Michigan has the request for the unfunded liability. They need an answer. So when can you present the council on your corrective action as stated here, the request by the state?
Before the meeting, I think you heard, I set up a meeting with the council chair for August 28 at 7 p.m. to talk about this, and it's a plan that has to be approved by all of the, not all of you, but a majority of the council members and the mayor.
Okay, so Plan Moran is going to be here, Mayor?
Yes.
So can they go through the audit? Also, could you schedule a session? Because I don't think the residents are asking wait till November for the next audit for 2018. We need to know the status from now before the November audit for the 2018.
Camilleri has expertise in this area. You have to address your concerns with the audit to the Martin, who is the partner on the assignment.
Okay, thank you very much. Any further comments? Okay, at this time, I'm going to open it up to announcements that involve city activities. Our library.
Okay, I have a very quick announcement. Hello, Council, Chair, and Mayor. I just wanted to talk about an upcoming program at the library Wednesday, August 22nd at 7 p.m. at Carolyn Kennedy Library. We will be doing a program on the history of Motown. Join Motown historian Susan Whitehall as she talks about not only the musical history, but the unique socioeconomic circumstances that led to the rise of Motown. That's all for now. Thanks for your time, and see you at the library.
Thank you.
Very nice. Madam Chair.
Chief, oh, go ahead.
I didn't realize you, if I might, Chief. Yep. I received last week on, I think it was Thursday, a letter of resignation for one of the department heads. It's somebody that has serviced the city terrifically. He's done so much for Dearborn Heights. I think this community owes him a big round of applause. Ken Greibel, you're just a great individual. You've done so much for Dearborn Heights. We're going to miss you.
Chief Brogan.
Good evening, Council. Just want to let everyone know that this Saturday, August 18th, is the firefighters' 26th annual chili cook-off and family picnic. So, got a big group here tonight, so hopefully we'll see some new faces there. And it's a great time. There's a lot of kids' activities. A helicopter comes. There's a moonwalk. And this year we're doing a little something different. We're working with the Rotary, and they're going to have a 5K that's going to start at 9 o'clock in the morning. So the Rotary sponsoring a 5K, and then that should take us into the chili. Will get started around noon for the cook-off. So again, it's at Parkland Park. It starts at noon and goes till about dusk. And we hope to see everybody there.
Thank you. Any other public announcements? At this, Just,
Just a quick update on roads. So you probably noticed that Beach Daily is under construction.
Thank you.
I wish it was the entire stretch from, we're well aware that the entire stretch from Ford Road all the way to Joy Road is a disaster, I know. And so that road wasn't really scheduled to be done until next year. We were able to push hard, and we got them to come out and do a resurfacing of the 1 mile span. So it's progress, it's movement in the right direction. They'll also be doing 2,300 feet from the intersection of Telegraph and Joy Road headed west. And I'm still fighting for that gap in between, because if you notice, if you live over there on that part of town, when they did the section between Inkster and Beach Daily, they went about a block, I believe, past the intersection. Now they're going to head 2,300 feet from the intersection west. So believe me, I'm questioning their sanity with leaving 3 blocks. You're going to leave like 3 blocks? Really? That's not done? So I'm going to continue to fight for the 3 blocks, but it's an ongoing process. It's a huge battle. I handed out the road condition map to all of you. You know that SEMCOG says the investment to fix the roads in Wayne County would cost us, like $1 billion a year for 4 years. And we got $175 million. So to give you an idea how underfunded roads are from the state of Michigan, Public Act 51 monies that were mentioned earlier, designated specifically for roads, it's just ridiculously underfunded from the state. So I know you see the county trucks out there, you may see city trucks out there, and you want to kill them both because they're not getting everything done. I feel your pain, but we can only do with what the money that we get from the state. So until the state starts funding the roads like they need to fund the roads, and we have huge infrastructure issues, bridges all over Wayne County that are absolutely dangerous. In Grosse Ile, they have roads the bridges that are so weak that an EMS vehicle can't cross over them. So, so we have huge infrastructure problems. So I just want to let you know that it's something that has to be funded. But as long as I'm on there and live and breathe, I'm going to be fighting for Beach Daily and Joy Road, I promise you. Good night, all, and thank you for your great work tonight. I appreciate your positions on the issue.
You heard how excited I was on my phone call to you,
I cracked up, Ray, at your message. Thank you very much. You made my day.
I drove down there. I said, holy moly, I had to pull into a parking lot and start calling and texting.
I know. I could tell you were so excited. Well, maybe your phone will stop ringing a little bit.
He can sleep now. You hear those trucks and hubcaps flying around?
Well, they start at 6 in the morning, so rather than set the alarm clock, I wake up to Wayne County trucks working on Beach Daily. But that's great. I'm happy to hear it.
Okay, I'm I'm sorry, but I got to get them out there. Okay, thanks again, all of you. Have a great evening.
Thank you.
Thank you all for coming.
Any other announcements? Okay, at this time, I'm going to open it up to public comment. Please state your name, address, and limit your comments to 3 minutes.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Madam Chair and council members. I'm speaking. My name is Joe Hashem. I live on 26560 Wilson Drive in Dearborn Heights. I've been a resident for 28 years maybe. I'm speaking as a resident, and I have some comments on item 9B. It is not intended to insult or offend or upset anybody. It's just my feelings that I have to put out. When I read the item, please allow me to clarify some points that I have to make. When we talk about transparency, if we're talking about transparency and things that council and administration and directors and what have you have to do, I did not understand why there are different rates for different people. I think if somebody is concerned about the city budget, there should be a rate reduction for everybody across the board, whoever it is, 5 people, 10 people, 20 people, 100 people, but it should be one rate. It should not be Mr. This gets this much and Mr. That gets that much. I think that is not correct at all. And that upset me, to be honest with you. I think the rate should be across the board if it's called for. It should not be directed toward one person or the other.
Okay.
And again, talking about transparency, the number of 199,000, excuse me, a little bit nervous here. The number of $199,000 that will be going back to the city budget or the general fund is not correct. Please do your math correctly next time. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Any further public comment?
I think I should have gone on here and announced.
Yeah, I know. You're supposed to be under announcements.
All right.
So this is an announcement.
Okay, we have an announcement. Everybody's welcome to this. It's the Neighborhood Meeting Association from Southwest Dearborn Heights, but you're all welcome. And our meeting is tomorrow from 7 to 9, if you can get up by then, p.m. on August 15th, and it's at Thorne School, 25251 Annapolis at Gully. And our featured speaker is our own Robert Constant as an attorney. He's going to talk about power of attorney, wills, insurance, and he will take questions. So we'd love to see you there. And then in September, we'll be meeting on Wednesday the 19th. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. How are you today?
I just had a situation. I bought a property.
Name and address, please.
Name and address, please.
Name is Basam Bazi, and the property is 7442. And on July 24th, Mr.
What street? I'm sorry.
Gully, North Gully.
Yes.
Something was mentioned by you, sir, that I am combine the two properties together, which is probably you remember.
Yes, I do.
That I'm combining them without a permit, and I'm building without a permit.
I did not, never said that.
I got them on video.
I didn't say you didn't have a permit, and I didn't say you didn't. I wanted to know how that was done, and
That
what
was proved by the city, sir.
Well, and my question was to the city of how that happened. That was my question, sir.
Yeah.
Okay? And as far as the permit goes, I see the permit, and it was for an addition to the house, okay? And the permit that's posted on a house mentioned no garage. I have the picture
I
of
got
that.
the permits right here, sir.
I have
You
the
wanna
permit.
Take a look at them both.
I also have, well, that may be a revised permit, but the permit that was on the house the day I visited had no mention of a garage. That's where the problem arose for me when they cut down a city tree. So if the permit didn't have a garage and a tree was cut down for no reason at all, I had a problem with that, and and it's no insult to you. It's just the way the law goes as far as our ordinance goes. And it's very difficult for me, for me to find a house being an addition when you're building a house around a house, and then that house gets taken down on the
It's not
inside.
taken down. The only thing that's taken down is the front wall, and everything else is staying. Just the front wall is taken down.
And that's, but those were just questions that I had.
Yeah.
It wasn't saying you were doing something illegally. Those were just questions. Simple as that.
But you confuse about two things. We have two separate permits for these additions. You are talking about the first permits, but if you look to the next permits, you have two permits for these additions.
Correct. I have
but
pictures.
in the YouTube, you mentioned something like about is no permits for the additions.
What I said.
Have the records.
Yeah, and if you look at the record
I
on
look
it,
very well,
I have the pictures here on my phone. You can see them. I saw both of them. There was no mention of a garage.
We have the copy of both permits.
I
with
understand
us.
that. I understand what you're saying, but
Could you have him identify himself?
Could you identify yourself, sir, your name?
General contractor. My name is Karim Hamoud.
And sir, all I'm questioning was when I went there, and I have the pictures of both of those permits that were on the house of the day in question, there was not a garage mentioned. I have them right here. Now, you may have revised them since then, and I got no problem with that.
We didn't, sir.
Well,
We
I've
still
got
have
them
the
right
date.
here.
We still have the date and the permits. You can look in the date of the permits.
I have them right here if you want to look at them.
Actually, I made
Okay. At
all of you
this,
guys, if you want to take a look at them, if you don't mind.
And that's fine, but I have
Okay.
also the pictures too, and I stand by what I said.
I made 7, so I don't know where to start.
that's fine. We can pass them down.
Yeah.
Okay, no problem.
Thank you.
I made 7 for you guys, so.
Right, you can hang on to
Share
that.
this.
All right.
You okay with it?
Yeah, he's got 7, so.
You got one already, right?
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
And I have no issue if you got the permit. It was
still
just
have
a
it.
question that I brought on because it's my job to question things like this
Which is, I respect that, sir, yeah.
when there
Okay.
is
All
stuff
right,
going
all right,
on.
all right. At this time, what I'm hearing is possibly you had the new permit and the old one was still on the door and not the new one was up
Both
there.
on the doors, yeah.
Now
But
they're
the only
both-
thing it was,
okay,
you know, the
no
only,
problem.
one more thing. That Mr. Masca said that I'm looping around the city, I'm going around the city. I don't do that stuff, you know.
Okay.
Everything I do, I get a permit for it, and I go by the city.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Abdullah.
I'd just like to say I drove by the house. It's a very nice house. I welcome you to, for building there, and I welcome the fact that you want to put this kind of money in the city and bring in this type of tax base, and hope nothing but success in this home. Thank you.
Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Madam
Okay,
Chair.
thank you.
Just for clarification too, and Beth happens to be here from the building department tonight, so she'll tell you, a lot of the permits that printed out that get posted on the door, they can't, it's almost impossible for them to include every detail, so a lot of times they'll make reference to as plans submitted. And I know I had a conversation with Councilman Muscat, and I went and pulled the original permit that did include the garage and the original permit, and I sent him pictures of that.
Yes, he did.
Oftentimes, they just can't make it all included on that permit. There wouldn't be enough room for it. So they'll say as submitted by permit.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further, thanks. Any further comment? Okay, at this time, I think we're done. No. Oh, I'm sorry. I asked for further comments. Your name, address, in 3 minutes.
Monica, 8541 Fenton, North End. So 2 weeks ago tomorrow, I came into the city to talk to the ordinance department. First, I called him because we're getting a house built, right? And they started digging up Fenton, the street. So I called the ordinance department to see if they knew anything about it. Nobody knew nothing. So I came to pay my taxes, and I went to the ordinance department. They knew nothing, so I got the address, went to the assessors, and I don't know why your computers aren't just all together. So I went to the assessors, found out stuff, and then I called the building department to see if they had a permit to dig up Fenton Street, the city street. They knew nothing about it. They said they had a plumbing permit, and I had to call DPW. The guy knew nothing about them digging up Fenton because he said that they should have like a sewer permit or something. So nobody knows nothing. We got this gap, and they put the gravel and everything in there, but I want my cement. And it's a city street. Nobody came out, I don't think, or what they're doing with it. So if somebody's here, like if they know what they're doing, or anybody?
Hold on a second.
So I became made aware of it. I think what happened is that they submitted an application for a permit. Brad, who is the plumbing inspector in the building department, did go out there because you had brought that concern that there was an open hole and they were blocking the street out.
Yeah, and it was garbage day.
Right. It was a cluster, as they say. So Brad did go out there because we already had an open hole. Even though the permit hadn't been officially approved by the building department, it was necessary because of the open hole for him to go out there and at least inspect to make sure that what they were doing was correct. And I know that there's follow-up in the building department. Eventually that'll be closed off. It'll be approved and closed
So
off.
whose responsibility is it to pour the cement?
Well, they're going to end up being liable for doing that work without a permit. So I know that the building department has given me some direction to follow up on that, and there's probably going to be some tickets issued for that.
Is that why they're not building? Because we just got a big old hole.
Yeah, from what I understand, I haven't talked to Mohammed about it this week, but when we had talked about it last week, that their permits have been put on hold, so.
Okay, and so then if they don't do the city street, do you guys do the city street and then you charge them?
We'll correct it and then they'll be charged for it.
Before school starts? Because we're a bus route too.
Let me get your number and I can follow up with Mohammed tomorrow, the building director, and I can find out where we're at with that, and I'll let you know.
As long as they don't do it on Wednesday.
Thank you.
Wednesday's garbage day?
Yeah.
Okay.
Your name and address in 3 minutes, please.
Deb Browning, Silver Lane. First, I have a couple questions from another resident who had to leave. She wanted to know that the adjusted transactions that get transferred from the water department to the highway, do you guys ever see that information? And I think I already know the answer to that.
We can if we request it. No, that's not true. We can if we request it.
You can request it?
Because I have, yes.
Okay, and so as a resident, we could FOIA that also then, right? Yep. Okay. And then just second, Councilman Bazey, I know you've taken a lot of heat tonight, but I do appreciate you bringing forward some of the issues that obviously need to be addressed, especially with the pay raises. I agree with you. I wasn't able to come here during the discussions earlier in the year. But if we can't afford to keep City Hall open for one more day, why are we doling out pay raises? It's a valid point, and I do agree that 5 days we should be working just like the rest of us do. And I think that we had a great loss when Bob retired. That to me is our greatest loss, and I think that maybe we should look at a city charter amendment, so a change so that city council has to approve whoever fills these pertinent positions, so that a man with a master's degree who has clearly served this city for a very long time takes precedence over a secretary. I appreciate it. Thank you.
name your name again? Michelle Wilson, 2543 Annapolis, which I'm sure Mr. Gonzalez knows very well. I have gotten nothing but harassment from ordinance people. I've been living here, I bought the house from HUD. I've been living in Dearborn Heights for 56 years. I'm tired of being harassed. He, in fact, came to the house 2 weeks ago. My son just had leg surgery. He's a hockey player. He used to work at Canfield until all this crap happened. Now he works at Taylor Sportsplex. My grass is not long. He had a problem because I had a big we had a big storm. I had a big tree come down that DTE's not taking care of the lines that for 5 years. Even the firemen came out and said that the trees behind my house should have all be trimmed because they're all by the wires. But DTE says they're 3 months behind. They're not 3 months behind, more like 5 years. Since that tree branch fell down, I can't do it. I've been with Detroit Fire 30 years. I got injured. I have a rod in my back, so I can't do it. So instead of people getting help, the only one that helped me, thank God for, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Otherwise, it would still be there.
Yeah.
I get home yesterday, and I'm getting harassed again about these branches on the side. Well, that's taken care of, because I'm part fire department, so it got burned yesterday. I burned it. I'm tired of getting harassed. I keep getting harassed more. It's always the same neighbors. My next door neighbor had to put his pig to sleep or kill it, because you can't have a pig, even though he got a permit from the city. What's with all these ordinances? I'm getting tired. I'm about ready to sell this house. That's how bad it is. So why is always my house the next house, and then the lady across the street gets preferences when the kids get the school street, the sidewalks mowed, hers gets done. And then the ordinance guys go to her house first, and then they go to everybody else's house. It's like she's picking out the houses for them. And she's got stuff in her backyard, but she's not getting no tickets or no warnings. I'm tired. Next one I get, I'm going to get an attorney.
Excuse me.
You know exactly what I'm talking about, too, Gonzalez.
That's not my name.
Okay, well, your Gonzalez is the one that keeps doing it.
Officer Gonzalez is assigned to that area. He works in my department.
And he knows exactly the woman I'm talking about on that block.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the pig. We don't issue any kind of permits for pigs. We did find out that there was a pig down in your area, and we didn't ask them to euthanize the pig. In fact, we offered to take it to a farm in Romeo that would have taken it no charge.
You guys gave him a permit to have it for stress from a doctor.
No, that's incorrect.
Anyways, I'm talking in regards to me. I expect at least some respect for 30 years in the fire department, okay? My son just had knee surgery. He can't get out and do anything. He tried to cut the lawn the other day. He's holding the lawnmower as support, and it's up like this. How's he gonna cut the grass? The blade's not even touching the ground. He's not a walker.
I definitely understand your frustration. We don't always know all the personal circumstances of what's going on with people, but we still have to enforce.
You guys know my situation very well, and even he does, the attorney there.
Yeah, and I was just going to comment that we've worked with you over and over again over the months and tried to.
Yeah, when you sent the warrant out for my arrest.
At this point, can we take it to after the meeting and you can discuss it, the three of you?
Yes, I will wait. Yep.
I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm the last speaker before your bed today. Anyway, name's Sam Jafer, live on Beach Daily. I just want to commend the mayor and the chief on the diversity they brought to the police department in the last year. Yeah. It's been long overdue. Dearborn Heights has become very diverse. I know we gave Chief Gavin, as the first responder, we beat on Chief Gavin on many occasions and the mayor, and they did come through. Thank you for doing that for the citizens of Dearborn Heights. Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you. Madam Chair, one thing, when we had our major flood, Mr. Jafer, as part of Homeland Security, he lives in Dearborn Heights. You came, I remember the call, because we had to get the inventory in, and you helped us. This is the man who did. That's right. A lot of you in the residents don't know that, but this man helped us get reimbursements on the FEMA. Thank you from behalf of all the residents.
And I must say, over the years, I worked with Bob Ancraft. We did some training together, spent some good days in Grand Rapids at the emergency management conferences. He's been a great friend, did a great job. He worked with me. And hopefully, as citizens and administration, we come to a consensus where Bob's in a good position. I hate to see him leave, but under whatever situation, you're the body that we elected to decide. Hopefully we can work that out, because Bob is an asset to the city. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
We appreciate the kind words from Sam, but we also want to thank Elizabeth, our HR director. She's the one that gets these applications out, helps us recruit, so we got to give a lot of credit to Elizabeth.
And I got to give credit also to the city council who talked and helped make it happen. Hey, Bill and Ray.
But no. Sam is most famous for being Nadia Berry's brother, right?
Good evening. My name is Zainab Jawad. I'm here this evening just to make a statement.
Okay, your address too, please?
Oh, I'm sorry, 1115 North Gully. I've been a resident of Dearborn Heights for almost 22 years now. Taking into consideration that the city has been closing for several years on a Friday, I understand that the city clerk is not required to be here on that Friday, on the Friday before elections, but rather he needs to only be here on the Saturday. This is not a favorable practice for the city clerk's office to close on the Friday before an election of a general primary or a general election. It is important that our citizens have the city clerk available to us in case that we need something. In my case, it was an absentee ballot that I could not get a hold of. I understand that contracts are sometimes an issue, but in this case, they should be adjusted if that is the issue and that is the reason why he cannot be made available. I am not by any means blaming the city clerk. I don't know what the circumstances are behind the reasoning of why he isn't here. I understand that the city, after this evening, I've learned quite a bit, that because of financial issues, we close on Friday, but yet we are buying property and we are giving raises. Just an observation. Again, I don't know what goes on behind closed doors. This is the first time I've been to a city council meeting. I hope to make it a reoccurring thing. I hope.
Thank you.
I do have to say, the citizens of our city, even if it's just one, should have the opportunity to request an absentee ballot or vote early if necessary. The city hours, especially during elections, need to be at the convenience of our citizens. I should have the opportunity as a voter to have the option until Saturday before the election to cast my vote or request a ballot. After this evening, again, I'm a little bit skeptical as to why that isn't happening. I hope that when the November elections come, this will be taken into consideration. We shouldn't be denied the opportunity to come in on a very last minute and request a ballot if necessary. It's our right to vote, and it's your responsibility to make sure that we do. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hello.
Hi.
Good evening.
Name, address, and 3 minutes, please.
My name is Najah Janoon, and my address is 6626 Whitefield Street. I'm here basically to address the council, but more so to address an issue that I had with the clerk's office. On two different occasions prior to the deadline of filing a petition for the school board, to file a petition to run for Crestwood School Board, we were given the deadline date of June 25th. My attorney uncle called the city clerk's office, spoke with his assistant, and she told him the deadline was June 25th. So in trying to make a decision as to whether or not I was going to run, because it's a commitment and something that I had to really think long and hard up, because it's, like I said, it's a commitment. It's something that was going to take time away from my family. Made the decision to finally run, and again called the morning of the 25th to confirm, because he was told the night before at the city council meeting that he was mistaken, and the date was actually that day, the 24th. So called the 25th again. Yeah. Today's a deadline. So when I showed up in the morning, on that morning, oh, hold on one second. She went back, spoke with the clerk. Walter came back out with paper in hand to say, oh, the date was yesterday. Well, I mean, this is the city clerk's office. How are you giving the wrong date out for an election? I mean, like, for something as important as our school board, with all due respect to our school board members, as a citizen, like, that is not something that should be taken lightly. That is a huge deal, a huge mistake. And I'm really appalled by the lack of concern by the clerk. Basically, oh, well, you can run as a write-in. Well, okay, maybe you should do that next time. Let's see how well that works for you or anybody else. It's not the easiest thing to decide to run for, school board. And when somebody makes a decision to be given the wrong date, how is a mistake like that even happening? Elections are that important that you should know, and your employees should know when the deadline is. Not something to be taken lightly. And I just wanted to let everybody know that maybe next time that would be taken a little more seriously by our clerk in his office. Thank you.
Thank you.
You know what, that is very disheartening. Mr. Clerk, let me come up, this is very important. You know what, you didn't speak, and we had an incident coming to voting as a member. How does that happen? Was that intentional? How do you deny somebody the right to be a candidate? You want to give the lady a response? Because we've been having issues for years, and I try to get along with you, but it's one thing after another when it comes to voting. That's got to change. What's your answer to the citizens?
At this point, let's discuss this after the meeting. I think it's best done. This point,
Council, I
looks
move
like
motion to adjourn. Somebody else here? I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. Christy Laszlo, I live on Charles Earth Street. I had a discussion in between this meeting and the study session with Mr. Mackey, and I just wanted to say my issue is not with Mr. Mackey. Why I was upset and why a lot of us are concerned is because there's things going on like negotiations against the city's fiduciary. This is not on Mr. Mackey. You're a good business person. I'm sure you'll do great. It had nothing to do with you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay, seconded by Bazey.